We've been to the summit, we've seen Catboys become Catmen, and we've heard the howl of the Smoke Wolves, and now the road begins anew. Which team will cement themselves into A-League folklore? Hello, and welcome to BPL 8, Week 1, regular season. It starts now. My name is Jace, and joining me on what can only be described as the casting couch for copyright purposes is Toasty. Toasty, Mr. Toastman. Actually, why did I let you into my house? Like, why?
I mean, look, we had to get the Jace Toasty casting duo here for BPL at least once this season. Unfortunately, I did have to break into your house to do so, but I'm here now, and we're going to be bringing you today's incredible match here up in A-League. We've got Caladrius versus Black Crown. Very excited for this one. It's a lot of well-known players here on both teams, and I think a well-anticipated first match of A-League regular season. The kickoff went pretty well. Yeah. I think lots of people tuned in, lots of people enjoyed it.
Good numbers.
And so yeah, exactly. And now we've got, I guess, like a few teams cemented at at the top that people are going to be climbing to try and beat.
Yeah, and of course BPL is always scaling. Teams will go on lower bracket runs, etc., etc. We've all been on this ride 8 times before. Most of us have been on it at least 5 or 6. So let's have a look at the schedule. The important question to answer is, will the police find and arrest Toasty before the end of the series? Get your over-under in the Twitch chat right now. But today's schedule is pretty straightforward. We've got Caladrius versus Black Crown, that's me and Toasty. Freefall versus Eternal X, all the way in C League, that's also me and Toasty. And then at 9 p.m, push back an hour, Whale Shark versus Siren Song, Noble Steed and Phantom Verdict. I believe, I actually don't know who's casting those on the top of my head, that's quite bad. But you've got 2 amazing casters. I believe one of them is Shami. So we've got an A-League game and then a B-League game, I believe. But lots of competitive Overwatch here for you on a Friday night. Week 1, game day 1, regular season. Let's have a look at the rosters for these teams, shall we? And then go into map pool. And here we go, starting off with Caladrius, Toasty. This is just BPL roster.aleague.png.
Yeah, pretty much. These are your typical A-League heads. You got Sinex, Mac Truck, Teku, Beancan. These are very well-known names in the scene, at least in terms of BPL. And then, of course, these are very flexible players as well. Sinex, a very well-rated DPS. Teku, very well-rated tank, and kind of team leader, I suppose you would say.
Yeah, I think Teku's a good leader.
Yeah. And as far as captaining goes, I think Teku is one of the best we have in BPL, to be honest.
Teku drafts, I don't think it's fair. My original impression was Teku drafts can either be like super duper hit or miss, but I actually don't think that's the case. Teku drafts a lot of solid rosters, and I think potentially Teku's gone for flexibility. I think just off the top of my head, Toasty, this might be the first time I've seen Teku have a lot of multi-role players on his rosters, and that is the case with BPL these days. Obviously, everyone being similar SR on different roles, but Beancan, he's a very flexible player. Teku signed up for every role, but he's only going to play tank. Mac Truck will play both roles, I imagine. Hudson, potentially Sinex, could also fill in on tank if Teku's not there, and Shogun Apple needs to fill as well. So Caladrius, very flexible, A-League centric. Hudson, a little bit washed, but I mean, the streets are saying that he's not showered for a couple of days, so he could be very, very dirty on the sojourn. Let's have a look at Black Crown roster too.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got, again, another well-known lineup here with your Ball OTP Epic Shock, of course, on the tank role here, and you've got Huntsman and Alibi, who look to also be kind of backup / mainstay tanks for this team. And then everyone else, again, quite a flexible roster. Shoreline Pie more likely to be on that DPS, as we've much known Shoreline Pie for. Very proficient on the hit scan / tracer role.
Yeah.
And so, very flexible roster. And I think that's what both of these captains have kind of gone for, is that flexibility.
Yeah, it's important to mention that from the draft, Black Crown left themselves a little bit short of budget. I think they heavily spent on, I can't remember, but I think it was Alibi, actually, who really impressed me last BPL season on Tracer. Alibi, they've got Winston as the picture, but they're probably going to be on DPS here. I think they're so good on that Tracer character as we get the lineups for map 1. So I mean, that's pretty simple, right? Shoreline and Alibi, that's expecting some kind of hit scan. Alibi on Tracer. Epic Shock will be in. Now there's the option for the ball as we go to look at the map pool. So Technical and Iron. Iron, one of our champion players, one of the highest ranked players in our pool. That flex support is going to be a tough time
for the side of Caladrius to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's our map pool. Of course, these will rotate week on week, I believe, as we start off today playing the Oasis out of the Control. We'll be going to King's Row after that as our hybrid map, Runasapi and Suravate after that as tiebreakers if required. I don't honestly think that, I don't think it won't go the distance here. I think we could end up going to Runasapi, Suravate if there's a tie anywhere.
Yeah, the only map you can actually tie is King's Row here, right? Like, there has to be a winner on Oasis, there has to be a winner on Runasapi, and have we got our bans in already?
Yes,
we
do.
Have a look. We've got Cassidy banned by Black Crown and Lucio banned by Caladrius. So let's have a swap over. Most importantly, we said coming in, this map pool, very unfavored for Wrecking Ball. Saravasa, definitely the best ball map in the pool. Runasapi, I think, is ball playable. So in terms of the first two maps, Oasis and King's Row, not the best for balls. So I think it's an interesting strategic decision by Caladrius to allow Epic Shock to play the Epic Shock character, the ball character. On map 1, it's saying, hey, we're not confident in 2-0. If it goes to a map 3, it's very likely to go to a map 3. We're going to leave that ball option open. So just in case you practiced with Epic Shock on Runasapi, we're going to have to... We get the option to mess with your muscle memory, and if you've ever heard me broadcast dive, you know how much I talk about disrupting the other team's muscle memory, take them off their comfort, and then you can really sink your teeth into the game plan.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is the point of having these flexible options. Like you say, you might get used to playing some sort of brawly or divey comps on King's Row, and then boom, they come out on Runasapi with a Wrecking Ball. And I think that's the point of having Epic Shock here as an option. And again, you do have other tanks available, and many of your players can flex around, which again, muscle memory messes it up. You might be expecting one playstyle when you get a completely different playstyle. So
yes,
I'm very excited to see what this series will bring, who's playing what roles as well, especially because it is very, very up in the air. I mean, looking at these lineups, right? Hudson and Cynics for Caladrius coming out in that DPS, Teku in map 1 on tank, of course, on Oasis, very good at the Winston, I believe, so that could be an option here.
Winston and Ryan, yeah,
and then Shogun Apple and Try, just a solid support line.
Yeah, definitely Reinhardt is option on King's Row for Teku. Like, this character is absolutely real on King's Row only, basically, in this level of play. Interesting to note that for map 2 or 3, Cynics could flex over to tank, and they could put Mac Truck in. So, again, having that flexibility is not something I normally associate with Teku as those flexible drafts. Yeah. But I'm very interested to see. I like the idea of just inherent unpredictability within the confines of your roster. You've only got 7 players, and sometimes the absences can really mess you over as you go into the season. But with that said, hopefully we're ready to go soon, right? Like, hopefully we're any minute.
I'm just excited as you to get into the action, Jace. I believe we're just waiting on a couple of hours from the teams, but again, looking at this first map, looking at Oasis, a cast ban here, very interesting to me. And again, that was banned by Black Crown, who want to be playing this Wrecking Ball. I think that immediately signals to us Wrecking Ball or Winston for Epic Shock here. The question now is who out of Shoreline Pie and Alibi play Tracer /
Alibi
dive.
It's Alibi on Tracer. I would almost like put money on it. Shoreline definitely shown us that they're more of a demon on the Freya. Might play this Sierra. The thing for me is I don't know how real the Cat Bastion is. I saw a lot of it during the A-League scrims. Obviously, we've had a patch come in. I'm not too just versed in the confines, in the restrictions of Cat Bastion, when it is actually playable, when it is a meme, when it's genuinely very, very, very good. But Oasis is a map where you have access to the high grounds, you can go in forms, you've got natural cover on the high grounds, so it gives your Cat Bastion a very real win condition. And we talk about Overwatch in general right now. 3-2 split is so common, and I think there's not that many 3-2 splits right now better than that Jetpack Cat and that Bastion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always an option in the back pocket of these teams. It's more prevalent, I believe, in that pro play aspect of things, but it's certainly playable here. I can guarantee a lot of these teams wouldn't know exactly how to deal with it upon first glance, first team fight. And even paired with a Wrecking Ball, Disruption, getting a Cat Bastion in the air, I mean, that could be deadly.
It just sounds annoying to deal with if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, the whole premise of the ball composition is how many things can you force the enemy to look at once, right? Wrecking Ball, Tracer, Archangel, Lucio, which is banned. Good ban by Caladrius. Interesting enough to ban. I think that might be a way to potentially protect a Mizuki coming in. I would have thought Teku would have liked the Lucio, just generally good with the supports that they play. But it's important to note that some teams will just have main supports or double flex supports in from map, and they're not going to be versing Lucio. And Lucio Kiri has been the core backline for
so long.
Since 2023, man. Like, I'm bored already.
Yeah.
But as I said, muscle memory, ban the Lucio, go from there. And we were right. Mizuki for both teams. Shion enabled, Alibi on the Shion. So Shoreline players taking over the Tracer. And the Omnic boss from Hanamura, from Neo Tokyo, steps into the ring of the Oasis. Let's see Alibi on Shion.
Absolutely. I mean, the Shion on both sides, but the key difference here is you have a more all-in play on Black Crown here, right? Tracer and Shion, so deadly in the backline, but already a duel here between Cynics and Shoreline, won by Shoreline. Epic first blood coming through there as Hudson just narrowly clips the head of Shoreline. And so it's a bit up in the air right now with the Shion still alive. Alibi could bring a lot more of that burst damage, though, as Epic Shock into the back tries to, administer some disruption, but it's not enough. A big Suzu there to catch Alibi. Big from Iron, but Cynic still follows up on the kill. And so Teku just left trying to hunker down on this point, and it will be a cap here for Caladrius.
Yeah, the good thing about the Mauder here is just incredibly hard to kill from the Black Crown composition. I thought when it was a 1-for-1 trade, it actually would have benefited Crown, because this comp just functions better in a 4v4 when there's less options for team play, less combos. Teku has just shot and killed the hamster. RIP, gun to your face, see you later. They might just stand it out here, but Caladrius so far in control of the point, and when you're Mauder on an objective, that's only positive.
Yeah, good first kill there from Sir Technical, as they are punished for it, but a 2k on both DPS, you can't complain here. If you're Black Crown, Caladrius going to struggle to hold on to this point here, as Epic Shock now with that Sigma, the staying power, should be able to just bunker this down and hopefully get that point cap coming through. 38% picking up there for Caladrius, still have possession of the point. There's Cynics getting a return kill onto Shoreline Pie. It is flipped, but rush is possible here for Shogun Apple. Goes to 1 HP, ripping it off, but Epic Shock under a lot of pressure. Alibi gets that final blow onto Teku, and now Caladrius should start to fall apart.
They should do. The Kitsune Rush was actually perfectly timed. I was pointing to Toasty saying, look at the Kitsune Rush. It was genuinely poppable. Great timing. Iron mirrors it in response as well. Important to note that the contest, the cap, the clip has gone over to Black Crown. Finex on the bike for looking to hit the Akira Drift. Do they get anyone? That's 100 damage on the direct. As what can only be described as the Death Blossom Tokyo style drift comes in, and Hudson cleans up. That's a really late Yukai Sanctuary. I don't think that's a good domain from So Technical. Doesn't even really extend the point much. Epic Shot now on the Sigma. Cannot play the ball here. Has just been extended, and as the fight cleans up, Caladrius once again anchoring themselves on the objective. Kakai and Overclock ready to go.
Very late mistake there as well from Sir Technical. It means they're going to be so behind in this ult economy. Look at this. All you're going to have is a Gravitic Flux from Epic Shock. And to be honest, that can just be countered out with some aggressive play from Caladrius. Here they go. Very early on, OC is popped. And Hudson really wants Shoreline Pie there on the Sojourn. Maybe a bit too close to the sun here, though, is Hudson will escape with their life. They'll stabilize momentarily.
Stabilizing for now. They've got a lot of burst damage on the side of Black Crown, though. Remember, that bike on impact can do upwards of 160 if it's charged. Speaking of impact damage, stop the boom, but Teku just lives. Leans forward onto the monitor, locks in, and manages to get away safely. It's a mid-fight. Great to fight free from Dry.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to stabilize them on this point, and no one from Black Crown can get in. Instead, it's going to be Caladrius who go first. Teku low, body blocked out, cannot escape there. And so Technical again drawing a blood on that Mizuki. It's going to be just a clean up now for Black Crown. And to be honest, at such a disadvantage, they should not have been able to win that.
I have no idea how they won it. The Sanctuary from Chai was really good, but I guess they just waited it out. Black Crown, to be fair, have a lot of options, even with what I would say is an aggressive composition. I think the Sigma, the Mizuki, and the Kiriko give a sense of pause, give a sense of control, give a sense of slowness. They're able to stable in the mid-fight. Teku seems very all-in. Once that cardiac overdrive, once that shout has gone. Teku very vulnerable, and nothing very easy to shoot. It's just an easy win con. Wait for the cooldown and just shoot Teku. Speaking of which, goodbye.
Nasty flux comes through there onto Teku, and to be honest, the defensive ult again, so technical, using that Kekai Sanctuary just to protect their entire team. A kill from Hudson, but it's not enough there, unfortunately, to flip it over.
Not quite, and as I said, the predictability of the Caladrius combo almost comes back to bite them. Actually does come back to bite them. Teku has to go in, and it's fluxed up, and what comes up must fall down 2 times as hard when you are slammed into the floor. That's going to be a key broken bone. Shoreline on the off angle on the Sojourn. How many times have we seen this? But Sinex puts him down. The duelist.
Popped as well. Sinex doesn't get too much with it, but it's 2 for 2 trade here. Support and DPS. For both DPS here from Caladrius, it's all to Teku to dish out the damage they can now, but Alibi is cleaning up on this Xion. Just so much burst damage coming through from this character, such a prevalent character already after just being released, especially in the hands of Alibi. Sinex, though, will do the exact same. 2 picks coming through. A touch here from Hudson was a little bit too late, and no OC attainable.
No OC. There goes the round. Black Crown, I feel like they put themselves in such a good position after the kill onto Teku and Caladrius. They fight, they kick, and they scream. They claw back into this 99 overtime fight. But I think just the snowball was slowly starting to roll. And Black Crown, I think it's fair to say they didn't make any mistakes since killing Teku with that flux. I think that was very stable from there. Shoreline Bai actually also makes a great overtime read. When you're rushing to get the objective, you're not going to look left in that corner, because why would the Sojourn be there with overclock? And it's instant mechanical confidence. That's an ego play from Shoreline. And you're 14-4 though, I think you can make it. Hit the high value railgun as well. I believe it was onto one of the supports off the top of my head, and now it puts Black Crown in a great position, because at this point is better for Wrecking Ball. The one after, even better. So they've only got to go 50% Black Crown, and they're 1-0 up, and match point, as is BPL.
Yeah, early catch onto Epic Shock, but they will get out with their life. And so now for Black Crown, it's just about trying to surround Caladrius, right? Maybe try and catch Hudson here in the back line. There's a pile drive coming in from Epic Shock. No one's there to set it up though. The timing was a little bit off on that engage, and so they're going to start getting punished for it. Shoreline Pi chased down, hounded by Hudson. And a TP away there from Shogun Apple will keep them sustained and alive. Black Crown, without Shoreline Pi, what does the Wrecking Ball do here? Just going to take a lot of damage, and unfortunately, they can't do much till Shoreline's back.
Caladrius do a really good job of actually poking out the Wrecking Ball. The one target that Epic Shock was looking for, but the one target that they found was Shogun on the Kiriko, and they just step away, right? Nothing they can do from there. And when your Epic Shock is low HP, when your ball has low HP, they cannot fight, they can't even roll through the risk of death. So basically, it sort of kills them for a couple of seconds. Speaking of, Teku melee punch bang, Shoreline Pi in the dirt. See you later.
Yeah, and Shoreline's been out for 3 fights in a row here as, it is traded out for Teku, but Alibi once again goes down. Here's a huge ultimate coming through there from Sinex, catches 2. That ult is just nasty.
Oh my god, the assassin from the streets of I forgot the name. I can't even do that. I can't even do the lines properly. But Shion's looking so strong. How quickly did Sinex stop that ult, by the way? Alibi is only on 63, showing the absolute min-max again. Sinex is for sure one of the best DPS we've got in A-League. Absolutely proving it. The ability to just pick up a broken character like Shion really showcase her off in week 1 after limited scrim practice. Great performance from Teku so far this month. Really trying to force Caladrius back into it.
Set up here, but Shoreline Pi forced out yet again. Can't get any value on that Tracer, and so both Kekai Sanctuary is going to cause a stalemate there on the point, but Shogun Apple goes down. And so it's about stabilizing here for Caladrius, seeing if you can survive without Try Alive. Unfortunately, not going to happen. And Black Crown will flip it over.
They get the flip. 71% on the board for Caladrius, so it's not too bad. Wasn't an expensive fight. That's always something I look for instantly on that side. Black Crown commit. How many ultimates do they commit the Takai? And I think they commit the Kitsune rush there. Caladrius is going to be building up to their own Kibby rush. And I talked to you earlier about like ult theory, right? Like you number the ultimates 1 to 5 and how it's not really as relevant in Overwatch 2 because of the pure power of some of these newer Overwatch 2 design characters. And Kitsune rush is just the perfect one side fits everything ultimate to get Caladrius back onto this fight.
Oh, very well planned engage there though from Shoreline Pi. Unfortunately, Epic Shock pays for it. Can't get out alive. Yeah, exactly. The Mizuki with the chain there. Teku in the backline though seems to be ravaging them, right?
creating a lot of space there, getting rid of the support, as it does pay off with a kill onto Sir Technical. And Caladrius still have chances here. They flipped it over, so the percentage is taking up their favor. And so Black Crown, they're just going to try and hound out Teku, but they get away just about alive with that passive on the tank. Now Alibi into the back. Looks for try, looks for Shogun. Both of them go so low. And Shoreline's the one to finish it off. Their Epic Shock now following up as well. One after the other. All these threats piling up. Caladrius, though, a hero play from Hudson could be huge. But Sir Technical getting the Techers to kill them off of there. Caladrius shouldn't be able to turn this one around. But that Cynics can pull off some incredible heroics. Epic Shock trades back onto Teku, though, and this ball's going to be everywhere. So hard to kill as Black Crown in the last moments there just clutch that up.
Yeah, and Alibi wins the 1v1, the ego 1v1 after the ultimate, just managed to keep their composure. And every fight, even though Black Crown eventually end up flipping, every fight the Epic Shot gets hit with that Mizuki chain. We're seeing the value in that Lucio ban, because it's a character that Caladrius probably wouldn't have played here, and it's one that, I mean, it keeps it open. Epic Shot, it's almost like Fall is banned when Mizu is on the field. That chain is just such a good counter in the main support. That's the one you're going to be wanting to go for. 60% and counting. Iron, as we said, champ support player, high impact, got the Kitsune Rush. Teku posturing on point. They've got initial control of the objective, and Shoreline Pie dies first.
Yeah, huge engage there to start off with from Caladrius. And to be honest, a quick loss is what you want here for Black Crown. You want that final fight to be available, but Sir Technical and Iron are going to get staggered out here, getting chased down by Cynics. Very, very good call from the side of Caladrius. Again, that leadership from Teku coming through in, and the flip hasn't come through actually. Black Crown is still stalling this one out. 3 ults on board now, and winning this one over. Caladrius maybe flew a bit too close to the sun there. That's a huge clutch up from everyone to coalesce there at the end. Black Crown will take Oasis.
It's just Shion, like, that comes in and absolutely clutches Alibi again. I have no words for that performance. I was pointing at 86 there because I thought, okay, Black Crown, they need to get out, because the longer the staggers, 86 is normally the pressure point where if you stagger, you don't really have a touch of the point, and if you do, you basically have to sack someone for it. If we get a play of the game here from Finex on the Shion, going in, no nano boost needed, just so much damage. It's a Death Blossom on cocaine, that ultimate, absolutely ridiculous. But so much high impact from the Shion already. This character is disgusting. Feels like some of the way that both Alibi and Finex played it was akin to Tracer, except, I mean, when was the last time you saw Tracer do 11k damage? I mean, 28 and 6, right? Like, look at the damage that Hudson has, 8.6, Shoreline, 7.6. Some of them played Sojourn, but played Tracer most of the round.
And again, you're playing Tracer for the follow-up with the ball, but Shion, at the minute, can just do it so much better. And that's why you're playing the Shion / Sojourn.
You have both, right? Yeah, like Shion, Sojourn. Shion somehow able to set up targets for the Wrecking Ball, and able to kill as well, as we're getting highlights.
We're getting highlights, yeah, exactly. This is new, but...
new.
Yeah, it just goes to show, a lot of these you'll see, the burst damage that the Sojourn and the Shion can put out is just disgusting. And this is why I think Shion has already come into the meta after just having been released. It coalesces so well with these aggressive tanks. You're seeing them play the Winston, the Ball, the Mauga, and even with the Sigma, who can just play back and poke. Shion's still going to do so much.
One of the good things about having, like, potentially a more, as I said, the slower passive backline with the Sigma, the Mizuki, and the Kiri, right, is both the Kiri and the Mizu can go on an angle to support the Shion. It's almost like they don't even need to go that far on the angle, and when Epic Shot can just live, it lets Alibi play the game on the off angle by themselves. And normally you want a support there, but they don't even need one. Why? Because the damage from the Shion is ridiculous. Like, look at this damage from Teku. Fair enough, this is with ultimate. Sorry, from Finex. Look at the damage that comes in from Finex there with ultimate. Like, it's just an insane amount of burst. One of the downsides of Tracer is they can't just really go onto a target and burst them, except Shion can dash onto them. They can use the bike to aggress onto them at a increased pace, throw it at them to deal surplus of 100 damage, and then hit that execute right click, which does even more.
And the cooldowns are so low as well, I feel like, for the power of these abilities.
The bike's not bad, but particularly that execute cooldown, I think that needs raised already. Just the damage potential that I've seen in one map already from Shion, ridiculous. This character might have to be banned a lot this season, I'm not gonna lie, that was silly. Toasty, what do you think of going into King's Row now for Caladrius.
It's obviously going to be a switch up in pace, a switch up in composition. You won't be able to play the Bull or the Winston or anything like that. And Caladrius have already shown that they want to play this Mauga. I don't think it's a terrible play on King's Row. You have a couple of avenues you can kind of just hold, and then as soon as you're aggressed onto, slam in, get some burst damage going in.
Will Teku-
Xion, Venture, anything like that.
Will Teku stay in though? That's the question. Just we've got tanks.
You do have other tanks you have to play, yes. However, and here's where the flexibility comes in. You can keep Teku in to play that Mauga, and you can also use your other players who have flex rolls to be able to come in on other roles.
Yeah.
Teku is the only one with tank listed as their main role.
Yeah, Matrock and Synax. Also, actually, it's Synax is also eligible for tank, which would allow Hudson and Matrock to come in. Matrock is like, she's queen of like the odd heroes. Again, I liked this ban from Caladrius. Whilst they lost that first map, Lucio and Kiri, just so commonly played. Particularly when you're playing a dive composition, it's really hard to kill that Kiriko.
Yeah.
I potentially would have said in hindsight that Kiriko is probably a better ban than Lucio, but both of them are ridiculously impossible to kill. And that's why it's our backline for however long. Lucio Kiri is just the perfect backline. Kiri's so broken, so getting rid of it, map 2. King's Row, a little bit more front to back. But a lot of the flex supports are just very, very heavily invested in their time and effort, and even SR because of Kiriko. Yeah. So taking that away, really good. I wonder what Black Crown ban in response. Maybe they take away like a brawl tank or something. What do you think? Any bets?
Yeah, potentially. Black Crown, it's a toss-up because if you want to ban Brawl, you can't. That indicates wanting to keep Epic Shock in. You cannot do that legally right now.
You have to put Huntsman.
You would have to put Huntsman in. So why would you ban Brawl if maybe Huntsman's a better Brawl tank? I wouldn't really trust Epic Shock to play, say like your Maugas, your Ramatras, as much as Huntsman might be able to. However, that said, Orisa does go. I think that's fine because King's Row, Orisa can be very oppressive. You can kind of just hold an angle and stop it from ever being touched.
Yeah, you have the presence of the Zarya, which some may say is a natural counter. As many hours on Zarya, will argue that the Zarya-Orisa matchup is very nuanced because of the strength of Fortifying Spear, right? And also the characters that Orisa enables as a tank inherently just beat Zarya because they're just very, very good. But the important thing to note for Black Crown is they won the map where Ball wasn't banned with Epic Shock in, which means even if they drop this one, they could go to Runus RP, where where Caladrius might have to ban Ball just to take Epic Shock off the comfort pick.
And that removes other bans they might want to focus on. I mean, so far they've banned 2 supports, which it indicates that they want to control the pace of the game a lot more, right? The Lucio ban to obviously make it a slower game.
Yeah.
The Kiri ban now to
Nerf the
prevent any Kiri Lucio.
Nerf the offhand rules.
Nerf offhand rules.
Get rid of Suzu as well.
Yeah.
And also, I think
banning a tank would throw that out the window.
It's like even if Black Crown lose this map as well, I believe they get ban priority onto the 3rd map. So they basically guarantee if they go to Runus RP, they're gonna get Epic Shock on Wrecking Ball. They can take away Diva, something like that. But Huntsman is in, and they're not going to be thinking about map 3 for now. They're going to be thinking about map 2. And Huntsman very, very versed in the brawl style of tanks, I believe. Expectancy on Zarya could be on Ramatra here.
I think you have Oracle in as well. And I believe Technical has come out for Iron. So a full tank support line.
It's Oracle for Technical.
It's Oracle for Technical.
Yeah, Iron played last map on Flex support. They're on Kiri.
Makes sense.
Kiri was so good, they got banned from Caladrius. It's like, we're not playing against your Kiriko again.
So...
See?
Yeah, Alibi was in as well.
Look at the numbers from Iron last map, by the way. Unreal Kiriko.
Yeah, on stream you guys can't see it, but the damage numbers and the healing balance as well is very good from the back line of Black Crown. So potentially Kiri being banned is a boon for Caladrius here.
Text damage is the highest I've seen on a Mizu in a while. To be fair, I have only been playing in Diamond Overwatch. But let's look at the compositions for Caladrius.
Yeah.
Changes they've made. Basically none for Caladrius.
The Honor, I think, is something I notice here.
Shogun Apple. Is this the same? This is the same 5 for Caladrius, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And they've gone with this Mauga composition.
Again, which, I mean, Teku was a bit aggressive last time and got punished for it. Maybe just rein that in and try and kind of choose your angles and places to take a stand. We'll see, though. Black Crown have already got access to this high ground. Look at this. This is nasty from Huntsman. Going to be able to fire down from above, and look at the concave Black Crown have around the point. Caladrius have nowhere to go, and now comes the engage. Huntsman's gonna just take presence on the point. You have to charge in as the Mauga here, but Nemesis is just gonna get popped. You're gonna go down if you're Teku here because no one's charging a cardiac overdrive, and you know, Cynics traded out for Oracle. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on the Huntsman there. I don't know, weren't playing any angles, weren't playing any natural cover, and I suppose that's just a technical misplay.
Yeah, the big pressure here was whilst the off angle was going on, Alibi actually fell to Cynics on the Xion. There was no cryo, and Cynics just absolutely popped him. It's important to know that the interaction of cryo versus that Xion right click that execute, you can very likely time it. So when they pop out of bike, yeah, it's just with that right click, and yeah, they get absolutely shot up. They get 2-packed. All I say is Shogun Apple. Well, they just get shot in the fucking head, to be honest. Like, rest in peace. Cynic did another kill onto Alibi, and this fight is already 2-1 up for Caladrius. Make that a third.
I mean, it is traded out. You don't have any support for Caladrius, and Shoreline Pie is just going to clutch this up. Oh my word. 3 coming through there, and immediately Caladrius have to back out, knowing they're 3 down.
How did he win this? Is Shoreline the main character of BPL?
I think so, yes.
Is he just BPL's main character? Like, what in the anime pro tag plot on was I killed 2 in a 1v3? That's ridiculous.
That's nasty. You've just charged into the middle of an Amp Matrix here, especially with an OCing Sojin as well. Immediate disengage from Caladrius. They are not having anything to do with that.
I wonder if Teku gets off the Mauga character now, because there's just so much brutal poke and just area denial from Black Crown. Like, Teku has to go in eventually. I think there's a fair bit of just walking forward slowly at them with Mauga, right? But I think eventually you've got to use that charge and that stomp button. And whilst you think, okay, it's not bad tank match, but you can just light the Ramatra on fire, the Mei and the Sojourn make it so that you're, even if Shoreline isn't actually firing the rail at Teku, they're building it up on Teku, which is important, because if you give Shoreline enough time, enough space, enough railgun opportunities, they're going to take someone's head off eventually, as you saw last time.
Well, here's the charge, and it is a huge engage, but the Blizzard comes through in just in time there to catch Teku.
Great
Kekai Sanctuary, yeah, like you say, try. Times it so well to keep Teku alive, and the trades are coming through in spades now. We have here for Caladrius, just cleared up on the Black Crown as they do stabilize on about halfway through second.
I think I've seen 2 fights in a row, the really obvious play from either side to be punished. First, it was Teku's obvious hard engage that gets punished by the Amp Matrix from Ayan, right? This fight, you know that Teku's the one that's going to get Blizzarded, so you just try in his face, force all the cooldowns from the Mei, and then take the Mei after Cryo. Mei in these kind of metas, when there's a Sojin on the field, when there's a Xion, when there's even poke that can come out from the backline, how much healing and damage, how much damage is Try or Oracle able to do even in this meta. Support do so much damage, and it just helps burst down the Mei even harder than usual. Oh my god.
Yeah, nasty bite coming through there. A lot of burst damage as Caladrius not able to get too much with his nano, but closed off that beat. Well timed from Oracle. Here's the cage, but in the middle of Ramatra annihilation. That's not very good, to be honest. As an attempt at clutching up comes through from Hudson, finds Oracle, finds Alibi. This could be huge. Maybe they're pulling a Shoreline by here with a 3k. Looking for the kill onto the Soj, but unfortunately, the support isn't there as well, right? I mean, Huntsman can just hold the front line.
Yeah, Shogun Apple not long for this world. Hudson slow is really good. Remember this season, Ramatra got that perk activation. You can pop, I think I believe it was a perk that you could sort of remote detonate the Ravenous Vortex. That was one that was gone already. So great quality of life change for the Ramatra. As the Caladrius here, it's slowly pushing. Do they have the momentum? Do they have anything in their back pocket to stop this cap? The ice wall just about manages to hold them off.
Shoreline though with an OC. This is dangerous stuff here if you're Caladrius. Shoreline tearing them up, finds 4. And again, probably the best A-League DPS, at least in this match.
Yeah, definitely doing God's work. Shoreline and Alibi, the DPS line, by the way, is just disgusting. I think. Like, we saw how good Alibi was map 1 on the Xion. Like, look at that damage number just that we can see, and now Shoreline showing up on that Sojourn. Mr. Shoreline Pie, to be honest. Absolutely John Sojourn, one of the best we've got. Did it on Freya last season as well, to be fair. Yeah, definitely they are awful.
Oh, Xion ult comes through, but look, you've used an entire Xion ult just to take down a bat. However, you segment them off from the rest of Black Crown, and Teku's able to follow up, get them all into that small room.
Yeah, I want to point and just sort of narrow in on that phrasing to get a little bit so technical for a second there. Pardon the pun. You said, oh, it used a whole Xion ultimate. Well, all of her damage is in her base kit anyway. If anything, it just dashed them onto the target and isolated the bat piece. It's like, yeah, they did use a whole ultimate just to get rid of the flex support. That's the bulk of the healing.
Yeah.
And then also Cynic is just going to turn around and right-click everyone else on the enemy team, and they're going to fall to the insane amount of burst damage from the bike, from that execute. Phoenix finally had enough of Xion going over to Vendetta, of all things. That's a rare pick.
Yeah, a bit of a rare pick in the current meta is it allows for a little bit more of that frontline pressure with Teku, and you can see it here. Very difficult to displace. Teku will go down. There's a nano boost that comes through onto Cynics. Okay, of all people, a Vendetta. I mean, you're going to be able to put out a lot of damage. Here's the Blizzard though to counteract it. Well timed there from Alibi. Should be able to swing this one back into their favor. And as soon as you catch out Shogun Apple there, I think this is all over for Caladrius. As I say that, try with another incredible Kekai Sanctuary flips this one back around.
I'm really seeing the power. It's been a while since I've casted Overwatch, particularly at this level. I'm really seeing the power of some of these newer characters. Vendetta, Sojourn, well, not Sojourn, sorry, Mizuki. Just the Sanctuary. It feels like any time Black Crown want to make a hard push, tries there with the Sanctuary to stable and hold. Unfortunately, Alibi without Mayfreeze, without Cryo against a Sojourn is just kind of a death sentence waiting to happen. They're using their cooldowns so well without having to use their cooldowns just to deal with... Oh my god, that was almost an Ajax.
Yeah, that was almost an Ajax there. It could have been incredible from Hudson, but unfortunately just not precise enough. Shoreline instead is the one to find a kill. Looking to corral everyone back into that mini room as well. Shoreline, I mean, you're not God, unfortunately, but you're close to it as Teku ends up going down there. A good trade out, to be honest, for Shoreline's life, taking down the tank, and they're not going to get back in time to contest this, especially with Huntsman having an Annihilation online. We'll be able to stall the enemy team in that spawn room, but as you say that, I mean, they kind of neglect their backline.
Yeah, no support out in this fight, which means the stomp that inevitably lands should just be really good. It's a trade, Huntsman. They don't want any of this. They want to reset quickly. It's Nano Boost and Vendetta Ultimate versus Annihilation and a Mailed later in the fight as well. Phoenix, though, we saw that last fight, the nano boost onto the Vendetta. I think it's all eyes on the Flex DPS. The Team Island representative is going to have to count their lucky clovers in this last one, Toasty, because they are going to need to come up big for Caladrius. Otherwise, Black Crown are going to roll it in EMP every single Omnic on King's Row.
Well, there's the nano boost. That's a huge slam down with the blade, and ult popped as well. Two of your key players go down for Black Crown, and that movement as well from Cynics to get back into the fight as quickly as you were out of it. And I think this is it. Caladrius should be able to stabilize here. Huntsman can't do much with an Annihilation on their own. That is a huge play from Cynics, showing that they're not... It's not only Shoreline that's one of the top A-League DPS here.
Yeah, it is absolutely a match of the century. Get the John Cena versus Rock gif going in the BPL chat. It's important to note that I think Vendetta's been gutted, like, really heavily since the last time I saw her. And just, honestly, in the last, like, 5 or 6 months. She's been really gutted over the last couple of patches and are getting a lot harder to play, really reliant on being able to hit the cooldowns, hit that overhead. And Cynics just made it look easy there, by the way. With the nano, just, yeah, give me the nano, let me go in, I'll kill you, I'll hit the ult onto you, pop you out, hit a little whirlwind dash to get myself into safety, you know, hit a little bit of dark magic on the slam down, hit the crit, and just bing, bang, bosh. See you later. You know, what was it that Jasper said earlier? Was it wig wag? Was it?
Oh, no, don't it?
No, we're not referencing that anymore. Those who pro actually, but yeah, wig. You know, the wig wag. Goodbye Haj, I'll say, and Phoenix deleting them off the map on the Vendetta. More accurate Vendetta, some might say.
Accurate, yeah. Unfortunately, not cutting off any Doomfist arms in this scenario. I would love to see some Doomfist play personally, but unfortunately on this map, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Teku is teasing ball, but I think that's just to mess around. Yeah, we're back to the Mauga here. Mauga with the Ana is very important, by the way. If these nade timings are picture perfect, the slam nade combo can be deadly.
Slam's so good. I think Teku's had a rough time in this matchup because Black Crown are just absolutely looking to load all their damage onto the Mauga. That's kind of what the Mauga's there for, though. Teku is just a big smoke screen of a distraction. They are just nothing but a rage bait of a tank. But unfortunately, if you don't take the rage bait, the Mauga still might stomp on your Sojourn. Oh, well, I mean, they're not going to get stomped on there. They're just going to take off Shogun's head.
Yeah, Shogun looking a bit like Violet there in the face of a Shoreline fight with Rail. And they should be able to be cleaned up here, you say? I mean, Huntsman and Shoreline find another one apiece, so it's a 3v2 out here. I mean, it's looking up in the air, but I think Black Crown with the better spawns could just stabilize a bit.
Better spawns is important. Just being able to play for map position as well, and the next almost just like a drive-by there with that whirlwind. Was just whirlwind to get out, but Shoreline Pike eats it in the face and now they're without their hit spam. That leaves Hudson free on the high ground. Could even slide over and take this on the right here to get a more aggressive position. Caladrius just trying to anchor themselves on the objective. Black Crown, do they have the recontest?
Well, Black Crown are going to try. Huntsman getting in there, blocking all of the damage. Like you say, a big distraction here, just trying to step on, off of the point. Here's the shield as well. So much staying power from this Ramatra as Teku is forced to just hide behind a telephone box. Unfortunately, not going to do too much there. It's still under a lot of pressure, and Alibi will find Shogun on the sideline, and Teku was not there to be able to save that honor, and so it's a good recontest here from Black Crown.
And they look like once they move Hudson off, that's a lot of their big burst damage in the composition gone. Sinek's dead as well, and once they force Teku out, that's when they can run on the target. I think Teku's goal here with this Maunder versus Ram matchup, the reason I keep highlighting it is Huntsman wants to be able to walk on these Caladrius members, but Teku is just kind of stopping them. Very so often you see it's in ranked more so than in team play. You just counterpick the enemy tank to stop the enemy tank from playing the game and have an impact on your squishies. Teku's not the win con here, but he's trying his best to disable the win con of Black Crown.
Oh, interesting nanode overclock here. That's disgusting. Shoreline Pie one-shotting with them body shots, and even in face of a Malga, able to just waltz off like nothing ever happened. Shogun Apple probably gonna get staggered out here, if I'm honest.
This could be a big stagger with 1:45 left on the clock as well. Caladrius down a couple of buttons. They're just gonna take the short stagger just to put them off the respawn, but Caladrius have got quite the wealth of ultimates ready to go. I thought when they stalled them on second that they might have had a chance here, but really struggling on this attack. I think, to be honest, Sinex and Hudson have just really struggled to get into position. Black Crown have done a good work of shooting Teku just enough to stop that Mauga from anchoring on the objective, and once they've got in a position that they can't really move them from, it's okay, let's ignore the Mauga and go after the rest of the team.
Here's Sinex into the back, not going to go for that ult just yet. We'll find Iron instead. Lots of damage now being placed onto the core of Black Crown, and I think that engage was exactly what you needed. Segment off the honor and just kill the rest of the team.
Yeah, see the mobility coming to power, absolutely. The Vendetta still has that in spades, in troves, in buckets. Get your bucket and spade, absolutely, because life was a beach for the Anna of Iron in that fight, by the way. That's a as I said, champ 5 flex support, but elo does not matter when you've got a Nano Vendetta in your face. It's swing, cut down, making it so easy. And once you have that extra aggressive, like, Teku doesn't need to entry in that fight because you've got the Vendetta to do it, and all of a sudden the tank roll becomes 100x easier when your flex TPS can go ahead of you. Black Crown, let's see how aggressive they take in this fight. They've got the ultimates to do it. Mail going to be good here, but the Thai Sanctuary could come out in response. Keep your eye on the Mei, keep your eye on the Migu.
Well, here's Sinex with the ult. Unfortunately, Kekai Sanctuary can't block this one. Try and find it. There's Oracle going down. And Black Crown, even though they've lost their Mizuki, try and go aggressive, and they start getting some trades back. It's now a 3 versus 2, and Caladrius with an OC'd Sojin here might be able to clutch up. There's Hudson getting a dink onto Shoreline Pie. Huge start there, and to be honest, you should be able to re-aggress now. Force Alibi on the Mei back. Potentially even get a stagger.
I will say that Hudson's doing a really good job, considering we know that they're coming in. They've not really played the game too much in the last couple of months. They're going up against Shoreline and Alibi, as I say, monstrous DPS line. Both actively playing, both actively at their best. Doing a really good job, just hitting enough on Sojourn to stay competitive and keep Caladrius alive. Nice wall coming in from Alibi early. Can they capitalize? Because that's no cryo for the Mei. They are very, very flimsy now, so the Nano has to come in.
Oh, unfortunately, the Kekai Sanctuary, was that Ajax by try? Either way, Black Crown should win the team fight off of that. However, Teku and Sinex corral everyone back down that back street, and it's still a 2v2 with a tank and a DPS versus a tank and a DPS. I mean, the Mei has a bit more kind of stability here.
Yeah, never walk into a back street in London. You will get shanked one way or another. And that's Huntsman taking a whirlwind slash. They've got to back up. And we've seen combos, haven't we? Tank DPS combos turns all the time. Ball Sombra, Winston Tracer, you know, Zarya Reaper, and now it's Mauga plus Vendetta. Caladrius are finding that 1-2 punch, that pick and roll combo. It's empowering them onto this second point. Teku and Sinex are doing everything they can to get Caladrius over the line here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sinex in the back line there, still trying to put some pressure out, but Huntsman comes through with a sick annihilation. Shoreline Pie as well will be taken down by Hudson, but does the work they need to with that overclock. Should be normal cleanup here, but like you said, I mean, you're going to get shanked. Sinex, sword or knife, it doesn't matter. Both can cut through butter, but not when the rest of your team's dead.
All four they go. And I think the matchup overall now, as we get into what could be the final fight It's the Nano Vendetta again that's going to be very scary. Basically nothing for Black Crown. They should expect to go down in this fight. One thing I do want to quickly point out is all this aggression that both of these tanks are taking. I think the perk that Huntsman's got, the 100 HP per second heal when they're in their own vortex, makes it a little bit of a harder matchup going in. Die?
That was just a bunch of burst damage. I mean, what do you do if you're Teku there? No chance to respond to the cardiac overdrive. And 2 players down now for Black Crown. It could be turned around. Cynic's gonna go for an aggressive play on the Vendetta, trying to be the hero, but Shoreline Pie is more heroic. Will find Hudson here as well as they go for an OC, but Shoreline Pie is fearless in the face of it. And Caladrius run out of steam in the final moments here. It's just Teku a little bit late to the fight as they died first. You're going to get Try contesting on the Lucio, but I think this is all for naught. Phoenix, unfortunately, I said this earlier, you're not a god. You're not going to be able to clutch this one up.
That opening pick onto Teku was just like, I feel like 1 in 100. Like, I don't even mind the walk there. Didn't feel like they didn't need those cooldowns, and they just got popped. Like, how many times have you seen attacks get deleted like that? Particularly Mauga, of all things. Important to know that while Shoreline hit so many railguns, Alibi's Blizzard there enabled at least 2 of them. From what I could tell, 2 of them were frozen. The Shoreline is definitely going to take the plaudits and the credits for this map. We're going to have a look at the numbers on our side of the screen here, and just a really like a freak death almost from Teku in that final fight. I don't think the Mauga was a bad flop. It was just all the damage. Everyone hit everything.
Yeah,
I don't even know
Shoreline.
I don't even know how he died. Like, if you look at this composition, I'm absolutely baffed, by the way, as they say in Grime Street's line. Like, I'm absolutely baffed. What on the composition of Black Crown caused Mauga to take that much burst damage? Like,
well, the final blow was dealt by a Mizuki, so you can imagine maybe an a rail, and then the Mizuki finishes it off.
Is it just like the full rail and then eating so much damage on the cross? Like,
Teku crossed into sewer in front of 5 players.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the play you make in final fight when you're about to lose the game. Not to blame it all on Teku, of course. The amount of damage was insane. The amount of shots being shot was insane.
He's not expecting that, right? Like,
no, you're not expecting that.
How often are you just gonna, like, fair enough, a little bit of a jaywalk, as Cobalt would call it.
Yeah,
but like, it's the shortest gap and you're straight behind hardcover, and he just Teku got evaporated there, bro. Like, I don't think you can blame him. That one's gonna sting for the BPL veteran. Potentially gonna feel like he cost his team the series in that final fight. So did excellent work on the Mauga of denying Huntsman as much as possible. But in the end, that tank just really being unable, I think, to throw hands with Shoreline and Alibi, being unable to stop them. I mean, you can only fight a war on one front as tanks these days. The minute you try and look at too many people, you end up looking at none. I don't know, that I experienced the hard way. But good job of disabling Huntsman, I think, and really stopping that Remarker from walking on the rest of his team. But unfortunately, Shoreline and Alibi just said, okay, you're going to get the tank experience, and we're just going to slide at people with overclock and our overpowered characters and do the rest. We got this one, King.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, Caladrius, not the most impeccable start to the season for them, taking a 2-0 in the kickoff and then taking a 2-0 in the regular season. Not a good start, especially with some of the talent of these players. But you're coming into a season, you want to gel, and perhaps the way to play these competitions is not, I guess, fully in their heads yet as a team.
Yeah. And even some of the niches, even if a comp that's just like, low-key, let's hold W3-1 on my count. We saw the good parts from Caladrius, though. That Nano plus Vendetta, Sinex showing a wealth of heroes. Opted not to go for the Shion on this map, which was interesting.
There's not enough flank angles, really.
I guess that's probably it, right? They just don't think it's a good enough fit main character. Toasty, we might have time for an interview. Who's your MVP for this series?
Well, I mean, given the performances we've seen from Black Crown here, we had players who are popping off, namely Shoreline Pie, Huntsman, and Oracle. But I think it's got to go to Alibi, the rock of this team, right, throughout all of King's Row, throughout even most of Oasis as well.
That Shion on Oasis was dirty, by the way.
Like none of these plays are possible without the pressure that Alibi is putting on. Sure, Shoreline and Huntsman might be the ones in the kill feed 99% of the time. It doesn't matter. Alibi was doing so much good work there, so much consistent damage output as well. Considering you're playing May on King's Row, that damage number is good.
Feels really harsh to not give it to Shoreline after having a very solid map 1 and then going 43-10 on map 2. I'm not going to say I expect that, but I think Alibi did a lot of the dirty work on map 2 to enable, particularly some of these fights, by the way. Like, it almost felt like, how can I describe it? Because I can't mention myself, but the first thing that came to mind is it feels like Alibi was almost smurfing on Mei, particularly against Teku, hitting every single cooldown. Oh, I'm going to poke you out. Oh, I know exactly where you're going to land with your stamp. Let me wall behind it. Oh, you're on a corner. Let me jump cryo in mid-air to land on that corner to body block you from getting off that corner. Let me keep you in the fight and keep you getting poked out from the team. Oh, you're walking on me. Let me blizzard on your face. Mei is one of those characters that makes it so difficult for the enemy. And as we talked about the Mauga trying to just get in the face and disable Huntsman, Alibi did that 10x fold and also just went 23 and 10 on map 1. Nope, 28 and 6 on map 1.
Yeah, which is crazy.
With the second most damage in the lobby, the most damage on their team by far. So congrats to Alibi, first MVP of the season.
Very well deserved.
Shoreline Pie has got themselves another S tier DPS. Alibi is definitely a fat upgrade over Dabmaster. He's going to hate me for saying that, but he is an upgrade by far. Particularly when Shion is a character. So congrats to Alibi on that MVP. And Shoreline Pie team looks strong again.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be expected. This was an incredible draft. You got some really, really good pieces here if you're Black Crown.
Iron Alibi and Shoreline is like as a triple is.
It is good. It is good.
Let's have a look at the schedule.
Yeah. We can look at the schedule coming up. We do have our next match that will, of course, be bringing to Freefall and Eternal X. That is, I believe, a C League match. If I'm not mistaken.
Freefall Eternal is, yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to be a good one. I saw a bit of the C League kickoff. I've been following that primarily. Got to rep the C League Union. Big up.
Shout out to the Union.
Head to Captain Ads and request an invite if you would like. And we do have an interview coming up, I believe, shortly with Alibi, our MVP. So we'll wait for that to come through. Here we are. Welcome, Alibi. How are you?
Alibi, hello.
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, chilling, dude. I'm going to turn you up just a little bit. You're a little bit quiet. Alibi thoughts on the overall game, and then one of the reasons as well is I wanted to talk to you particularly about Shion and the experiences with it. But let's just start on the overall game plan. Your Mei on King's Row felt like you had Teku on a string at times, and that's not an easy task. Had the whole team of Caladrius on a string. To be fair, I don't think Mei is sort of known classically to be able to cyberbully tanks. How did you find the main matchup on King's Row? And then we'll talk about Shion on Oasis.
The main matchup, I don't know. I was just playing bad the first round because I was being too aggressive, and then I just made the adjustment, realizing my team can't follow up. So I relaxed a bit, and then it was easy. But yeah, I mean, Mei's always just been so deadly on that map, and it's just a matter of keeping track of cooldowns. And Maga used pen, time to just wall and look at him.
Yeah, I mean, this is what Jace was saying just moments ago as well. After we awarded you the MVP, it's that key moment of walling off the Mauga as a slam comes through, or punishing that aggression from Teku, which you did many times on that Mei. Some well-timed blizzards, some well-timed walls. Gotta love that kind of matchup. Jace, you wanted to ask about the Oasis Shion,
yeah. Just talk to us about Shion Alibi. I guess we can try and speed run some questions, but where do you think she fits in terms of roles? Synergies, and how are you finding playing her in early scrims? As I said, still a very new hero, but man, that character looks fucking broken. Just nuts. I can't, man. Floor is yours, Alibi. Tell us about Shion.
Yeah, so Shion's a great hero. She's definitely more of a flanker flex DPS play style, but it requires the mechanics of a hit scan, and my two most played are Genji and Cassidy, so it's it was just perfect for me starting out. And a lot of the times it's just, I don't know, reading the enemy team. I'm just I know exactly where they're walking. I know the sight line to throw my bike down, and then it does half their health.
Yeah.
And she's very strong, but she can also be very easily punished. So she pokes a lot, and I feel like she's just really good at getting out cooldowns. And her ultimate's not that good either as far as getting kills, but it's great for if the enemy team doesn't use every single one of their cooldowns, her ult's gonna kill everyone, so they have to,
Yeah.
and then your team just gets to clean up. So
But if they're missing cooldowns, your ultimate comes up mid-fight. Like we saw it actually from Synex on the other side. You guys were missing Suzu. Both your supports were about 80% HP in that tight room on Oasis City Centre, which is the map with the jump pad. And Teku just
Yeah.
eventually spin dashes in there and pops Death Blossom. Well, but essentially what is the double-
Shion Blossom.
Yeah, the Shion Blossom. And, well, they died, so I guess it's Death Blossom. But
Yeah.
I actually don't know the name of the ultimate off the top of my head. But they popped the ult, and both of your Sojourn and your Mizu just absolutely melted. So even if they need to use all their cooldowns, if they don't have them, as you said, it's still a very good ultimate. But I think your base kit is just ridiculous. The bike
Yeah.
also looks fun as well. So you think you're going to be more on the Shion going forward then?
yeah, I mean, it was like the 5th time I've ever played her, but she's really
Wow, I
fun,
mean-
and like, yeah, I don't see, unless if Shoreline Pie wants to play her every once in a while, because I know he plays it for his
Yeah.
Face it.
face it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What do you think then? Sorry to interrupt that. What do you think then of Shion as a alternative or potentially even replacement for Tracer? Because the way it was being played there seemed like you were getting more value than you would have on Tracer in many of those situations.
Yeah, I think the place where Shion really excels is you can't really bunker down against her like you can with Tracer. Like if
Yeah.
like the enemy team going Mizuki and whatever other support they wanted to, Kiri, whatever, it makes Tracer's life really hard. Still doable, she's still a strong hero, but Shion just doesn't care and shoots them from afar. And
Yeah.
I think it's a great addition, and she also always wins the 1v1 against Tracer as long as like their
I
mechanics are
saw
good
that
enough.
many times. Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely think she'll have her uses. Tracer still has her uses though, and they can do different things well, so
Yeah. I think Shion is definitely has a lot more burst damage. I think you were saying Jace has that ability to rip the execution right click, that sort of thing.
So much damage that
I think burst comps should be nasty, right?
Yeah.
Anything else from you, Jace? I mean, I'm out of questions. So.
I'm good. We probably got a second or two before we get into our 8 p.m. Eastern game, I believe it is.
Yes.
I think the 8 p.m. Eastern game.
Yeah.
Alibi, best of luck to the season. Black Crown, looking strong, and I wish you guys best of luck. I guess we'll give you like any final shout outs before we get out of here and throw to break.
yeah, no, thank you guys. Thank you for hosting and casting. That's always great for us. And yeah, shout out to my team. They were great.
Okay, shout out to you as well. Thank you, Alibi, for that interview. So, we are going to wrap up for this match, guys, but very, very shortly, we'll be coming up with our C League action, which I personally am very excited for. Like I said, rep the C League Union. We'll be heading off to break, but make sure you stay tuned to get all that C League action. See you in a minute.
Welcome back, everybody, to BPL Season 8. We just had an incredible banger of a game there between Caladrius and Black Crown A League. Black Crown winning 2-0. But now it's time for the Superior League, C League, coming up now, Jace. And once again, I think it'll be a banger of a match, if I do say so myself. And to be honest, a bit more C League action after a bit of a chaotic kickoff.
Yeah, definitely. Kickoff clash was interesting to say the least, and of course C League having the later letter in the alphabet therefore means it's the better league, right?
Oh, obviously, yes, yeah.
So shout out C League. Every year people put in so much work, and I think C League is almost, I don't quite know how the SR wraps up this season, maybe compared to like SPCS divisions or previously, but one thing I will say is that C League always gets so many captain applications. You almost have to tell people, hey, can you captain B League instead of C League? Because everyone wants to be, well, in that SR range, and they want to be part of the union. We got Freefall versus Eternal X, which I believe actually wasn't a rematch of Kickoff, but both of these teams ended up playing Elvish Soul Knife and falling to 0-2. So let's have a look at the bracket overall. As you can see, shout out Six Kingdom, went on a really nice run.
Very, very, very.
But the Elvish Soul Knife didn't lose a map or kickoff.
Yeah, like both of those teams, I think, head and shoulders above the rest. But that doesn't mean by any means this is going to be a bad game or you guys should write this off. Freefall and Eternal X put up good showings, even though they went out early in the kickoff, as we can see there. I don't think that matters too much. I think against a team like Elvish Soul Knife, Eternal X didn't really get to show their true potential, and that is what we're going to see in today's match.
Yeah, Ronan's got a good team here, but we're going to start off with Freefall. Yeah. Important to know that Sonic Ronic is just an absolute shooter. This guy is now GM. Basically a May and Tracer 2-trick, from what I can see, but both characters very, very viable. And when you're just better than everyone else, Trace is such a hard character to deal with. I'm sure they'll pick up the Shion as well. Warner is Mr. Oldhead, Mr. Main Support, Mr. Unk Main Support. Donk able to flex on tank as well. Ono similarly. Luna coming back to their first appearance since winning with Beat Check in BPL Season 6. Keys, of course, on that multi-flex role. I would say that Freefall definitely lacked support for Warner. Ironically, I think their flex support situation is one that is going to have to be fixed down the line, but in every other role, in all 4 other roles, they are competent, stacked, trained, flexible, and that's going to be a problem for the rest of the league. This ain't no free fall, this is a controlled skydive towards your enemy base.
I mean, another Jace pun for you there, guys. But yes, I completely agree. Depth of roster in terms of that flex support is going to be a struggle. But again, that's something every BPL team will eventually have to deal with, some sort of gap in their roster. And to be honest, I do rate this team. I rate the DPS line specifically. Like you said, Sonic Ronic, a shooter, to say the least.
Sonic and Luna, such a good duo.
Yes, Luna's very, very serviceable. Jinxed is a very flexible player, I want to say as well, having had them on one of my teams previously. So we'll see if this depth of roster can make up for that flex support discrepancy.
I also think in particularly the lower down the leagues that you go, the real power of DPS lines get to just show off. It's just such a high impact role that when you are punching down, DPS is the best role to do it. Sonic and Luna aren't a collective, aren't quite punching down, but they're both definitely stronger. They're going to be some of the stronger players in the lobby. So let's move over to Eternal X. Ronin makes another appearance. Eternal make another appearance after showing up in Kitsune League, SPCS, etc. Ant and Laura, they just play everything. So they don't have a select favourite hero. 2-Bit, will we finally see 2-Bit on tank? I hope so. Davion, one of our caster friends here. Yellow West making their BPL debut. Layla, favourite in the live preview as well. A lot of players on this roster I don't know too much about. Laura is a classic old head, so should expect them to see on the hit stand. And not quite sure what they play, but
Shion, apparently. Shion, we don't have an avatar for yet, I believe, as we've just been told by Solomon.
And they both just swapped their heroes live to Shion.
Yeah.
Okay,
so Ant and Laura, either one of them are going to be playing Shion. We can have that as a guarantee. And I think in C League, you can kind of
Oh, okay. We got one eye. I'll take it.
Stares at you menacingly. Feels the aura.
Hey, listen. It might be two left eyes, but I'm still staring, locked in.
It might be two left eyes, but let's see if they can play Shion the right way.
Hey, another Jace pun there. Come on, this is why we love him.
Anyway, Antarctic and Midtown, we've got Esperance as the third map.
Yeah.
I am slowly continuing every BPL season the pronunciation agenda of Esperance.
Well, you are the Portuguese one.
Yes, it translates literally to hope. Shout out my wife, that's my wife's name.
We had to have a wife mention.
Well, it's literally, I mean, when it's called Esperance, it's literally the name. It translates to hope in Portuguese, basically.
Something about a wag. Anyway.
Yeah. Antarctic Peninsula and Midtown are the first two. Important to know that Midtown almost lost its place in this pool to Neon Junction, I believe it's called, the new map. But instead, Hollywood was shot and killed, and I think that's a good decision.
Get out of there, Hollywood.
I think Midtown is kind of annoying, but Hollywood just is such degenerate gameplay when we get into some of these TDM, deathmatchy kind of methods. When you start on Antarctic Peninsula, as we've got a Genji ban, very, very strong at the moment, probably one of the S-tier DPS below GM, and Ramatra, which is just Mr. Ramatra is Mr. Block and punch and heal and live and take turns and keep taking turns and never have basically any downtime. Because your downtime is when your form is down, but when your form is off cooldown, you're just shooting the enemy with very good damage and a shield. I love Ramatra, guys.
I love your rants about heroes you don't like, but I do agree. Ramatra buff in the recent patch, not necessary at all.
I think necessary, but like, why? You know,
look, I'm of the agenda that like Ramatra and Hazard need to go. They just need to go.
He said it, not me. Zarya's not a problem, guys. Real.
Well, no, Zarya is its own. Zarya is its own kind of worms, and we might even see it here. You know,
we probably should. Zarya Shion. I thought we'd see some Zarya Shion last map.
With the bubble onto the Shion in the back line. I mean, you can do some crazy things there, like uncontested.
Especially considering the power of both of these DPS lines, particularly if you think someone like Sonic on Shion.
Yeah.
One of the best ways you're going to win is by supporting your GM DPS in this lobby. Yeah. And what better support than a Kiri pocket and a bubble? And as you said,
cannot do more.
As Alibi was saying in the interview, right, Shion often struggles between the poke and engage phase. They found that can get punished quite easily.
Yeah.
But what if they get bubbled when they should be punished instead? So they have just enough time to get their cooldowns back. I'm a thinker, guys. I'm not just a wifeable face.
Yeah. But either way here, so with the Genji ban, I don't understand it. I don't think Genji is prevalent in the meta too much.
It's been giga buffed, as I was saying. Genji's back to being one of the best duelists in the game right now.
But you have Tracer, you have Shion as
I think Genji options. I think Genji might potentially do well into Shion. I've not quite seen that matchup, but I think stylistically it makes
Well, we're not going to see it in this round at least.
No, but yeah, Genji's just such an annoying brawler. Genji's also so versatile these days now. You can still play him in dive, but even in poke and brawl kind of compositions, Genji is your execute, your low HP in those poke comps. And Genji in your brawl comps is just going to sit with your time, going to get swift strikes, dash reset. Genji is just your low HP execute finish targets. Both, all comps, all set heroes of 5, whatever, need a character like Genji to be able to kill low HP targets. That's what Genji does best, better than anyone else. And it's also just a character that people have absolutely decades of practice on at this point, an unhealthy amount. As we get into Antarctic Peninsula, that might be my favourite penguin. Guys, penguin tier list.
Penguin. I don't know how many penguins there are, to be honest.
What kind of penguin? Is that an emperor penguin?
I don't know. I'm not a... Would it be marine biologist or would it be like avian kind of... Anyway, we're getting a bit into science here, and we want to talk about Overwatch instead.
Penguins are birds.
Okay.
But
bird is the word. Anyway,
it is.
Freefall, Eternal X. We have Emre coming out here, along with 2-Bit on the Reinhardt.
Donk is just going to want to take this mirror like instantly. Already seen a difference in the map change, by the way. That could be hole that we saw triggered shooting through wasn't a thing before the rework. It gives an actual wide angle. Laura on the Emre is going to be able to do so much poke damage. The mate wall comes in, it's really early from Ant, and I think Hubert's just going to die for that shift there. That was the Reinhardt experience. In 2026, it was over before I could even transition the cast, the play-by-play to Toasty. You had nothing to play-by-play here. The Reinhardt just died. So tell me, Toasty, what is your favourite condiment sauce to put on a bacon butty?
I don't actually like sauce. Chase.
Okay, that's Overwatch then. Go on.
Okay. So as I was gonna make a very good point actually that and doing that wall and baiting 2-bit to charge in and go aggressive, despite 4 players being in front of it, is the equivalent of playing Valorant and baiting your teammates on Waylay. It's not good at all, and I don't think we need a misplay like that again here. As okay, very close to the pick there onto Triggered as a Siphon Blaster isn't going to be able to finish the job off quite yet, but doing very good job of controlling that side angle. 2-bit under a lot of pressure again here though on the Reinhardt. You just need to stabilize a little bit now that everyone is low on Freefall. The slam comes through, but it's blocked out by Jobydonk, and so Killer Queen taken down. I mean, Jobydonk was very low there as well, but 2-bit couldn't do a single thing against him. Here's the High Noon. Bit of a zoning ult, but that is kind of what it does best.
Absolutely is what it does best, and I didn't understand the Valorant reference because I do have a wife. So Jobydonk kills 2 in the matchup, and you'd think like with Reinhardt May that Donk has kind of a bad matchup just in isolation, but obviously Overwatch is never played on paper. Donk spacing there in that fight, really good. 2-bit getting a bit too aggressive on the Reinhardt, and even though they have a Lucio for blue end, Eternal Edge, Killer Queen, aka Wanna on the Lucio, is also doing a good job of spacing, and I think Star and Laura just need to get on this off angle. It's their best win pod, I think.
Yeah, Laura, they're playing so far back in their own team. Where's the angle? Where's the pressure, right? Starwolf goes down first, so does 2-bit, and again, it doesn't feel like there was much value gained from the Reinhardt in that fight.
Yeah, Freefall just showing a perfect understanding of how to punish a very overly aggressive competition from Eternal X. They're going in, and the target can be the Reinhardt, it can be the Mei, and Eternal X have given up. Late dagger. And that Blizzard comes in, and that's all she wrote. Freefall, sending Eternal X into Freefall. There was no momentum for them there, and they're hurtling towards the ground quickly. And Toasty, there is no parachute.
Yeah, unfortunately. And the problem here, right, that you're seeing from Eternal X is, again, 2-bit is playing Reinhardt. It's not... You don't have utility, right? Yeah. Every tank, or at least most tanks, can do just about anything you need them to do within reason. Reinhardt, you stand there, shield, and swing occasionally. It is very one-dimensional. It's very predictable. There's no outplaying unless you're in like a Rhino or a Matra kind of like situation. So what's your plan here for Eternal X? How are you going to outplay? How are you going to get creative? It's going to be with pathing, it's going to be with positioning, and it's going to be with Laura taking these off angles.
Yeah. My favourite fundament thought through bacon is they properly made. No changes for Eternal X, by the way. Like the map geometry is a little bit better this time. I think it's whoever wars first loses in this matchup, and just the fact that Sigma can both shield and do damage at the same time. 2-bit loses so much resource here, and their HP. No armor makes them so squishy. Great pin though. Can they isolate Donk with this? We're doing the Reinhardt thing. Unfortunately,
Sigma does too much. Like, Sigma is a character in Overwatch, unfortunately. Ant and Laura both go down, and again, Laura, I think, was trying to play on an off-angle that fight, but unfortunately just get outdueled.
The important thing now is, like, even if, like, the best case scenario for the individual tank 1v1 happened there, 2-bit got the pin into the team for Donk, but Donk had so much HP that they could take the pin and just live. They could get healed from the high ground, and whilst those tanks were out the fight, Triggered and Sonic said, okay, it's time to get to work.
Well, I mean, what are you doing? You're walled off now as well for 2-bit. That's a crazy pin. All cooldowns up for Freefall, and you just get punished.
This is why ketchup is a D-tier condiment for the bacon burger. Killer Queen.
Jace at 1 a.m.
I'm hungry.
Jace with no wife.
Wait, real, actually, day one. Okay, real talk though, like 37%. 2-bit finally goes over to the Orisa. Sonic, 72% for the Blizzard.
Yeah.
Blizzard and Flux are so good here because Eternal X have to rotate into them, and both of them punish them not using their cooldowns properly, not saving them for those ultimates when the rotation happens. Man, Laura on this angle though, trying to do the best they can. Unfortunately, the front line is getting rolled so hard, but that time Ant hits the Great Wall.
That is exactly what you need out of your Mei for a wall as well, right? You see someone out of position, you punish it. And here's the Orisa swap right from 2-bit. It does a lot in terms of making space. Will be taken down, but at least you've gotten your value. And here's the mirrored Blizzards coming through here. Sonic frozen up, but will not be taken down. The Kiri is there and finds Killer Queen instead, and will just be punished in the back. The flip has come through. through, and it is definitely turnable if you just wait for your spawns to come back. But Blue Hen is in and not getting punished, actually. Triggered goes down, Starwolf with an incredible kill to turn this one around. 2-bit as well punishes that Kiri, forces the cooldowns. Now you know you can go aggressive onto this backline. Unfortunately, the rock comes through. Here's the beat from Killer Queen. Blue Hen is a little bit behind in that beat charge. Another zoning high noon from Laura. Doesn't find anything.
Just trying to hold space. Unfortunately, 2-bit, I don't think they've swapped into a worse character in terms of the Sigma May matchup. The Rissa is fine there, but the minute your Fortify goes down, you're just kind of easy pickings. The Sigma is never going to miss the rock. And Donk just kind of stares at Eternal X, trying to run into him over and over. With a tank that's able to punish cooldown from the other tank, the Rissa Parasurge comes in, but 2-bit now missing Fortify again. Very, very punishable without that golden form. And it's nothing but golden. It might not even be bronze for Eternal X here in this first fight. They're going to fall like 200 to like 50%. This was not a good look for them on this first map. Completely ran away with it, did Freefall. Some excellent play from Donk and the crew, really showcasing the power of just understanding, I think, the tank matchup for both sides more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for Freefall, it's primarily just the compositional difference, right?
Yeah.
Not only are you playing into a Reinhardt / Orisa who's playing way too aggressive for their own good, it's that, like, you're playing patiently. You're waiting for your moments to take a stand, and Donk as well on the Sigma it is just one of the better tanks into any of these matchups. Reinhardt, Orisa. I wouldn't have minded her a Matra, to be honest, if you're 2-bit.
I will admit, it did feel a little bit like opposite day there, because normally Donk is synonymous with aggressive and over-aggressive Reinhardt play or Orisa play. But they were very calm and collected and just understood that they didn't need to do everything on the Sigma. Didn't even need to do much. Still doing very well. Just any time that Orisa was in Javelin Spin, hit that rock, send her crashing to the floor, and send 2-bit to an early grave. Just let his DPS talk. Whereas 2-bit, I think, is, from what I've seen before, is normally the calm one on Sigma. I'm really surprised that he just didn't mirror the Sig, because that's definitely a character in his wheelhouse. But that's not something I would have thought, seeing in that Donk is going to be the calm one on Sigma and 2-bit is going to be the over-aggressive on Reinhardt. That's historically very inaccurate. You could say that's an anachronism.
Anyway, that is a name we do not utter nor ever think about. I agree with what you were saying there, and I think the way that Donk is playing is actually objectively just correct.
Oh, of course, 100%.
Like, you don't have to be going super aggressive just because you're perceived as an aggressive tank. Like, having that flexible play style shows depth, right? It shows that you've come further than just being that aggressive tank. I remember, like, we were talking about this earlier as well on Resurge. Shout out Resurge.
I should do have the Resurge.
Donk playing the wrecking ball, right? Very aggressive backline kind of player.
But yeah.
And in that kind of meta, sure, play hyper aggressive. In this kind of meta, you can get away with just playing that Sigma, playing stable, and letting the enemy team make mistakes. It's punishing the enemy's mistakes that often gets you wins in lower ranks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the easiest things to do on tanks is just let the game come to you. When they have to be aggressive, when they have to make the first move, they're going to be missing cooldowns for it. So that is when you are punishing them. Eternal X, they've had enough of the Lucio of Warner. Definitely the more preferred main support of them. So taking that frog away, opting potentially for a double flex support look, going in to map 2. What a Freefall ban in response. Potentially, you could take a hit stand away from Laura. Like, I think Emre would have been a pain point. Emre could be a good pain point.
Sigma? I mean, they were the ones playing Sigma, but that doesn't necessarily mean they wanted to.
Yeah, maybe thought that with if Davion's there, having to come in on map 2, he's more sort of Sigma oriented than
Yes.
2-bit, so maybe just don't want to play that mirror. Could potentially led to Donk being on Remotrix. If that wasn't, that would have been open. But we'll see. I think Ono might be coming in for map 2 though, for the side of Freefall, so might not like playing against the Sigma of Eternal X. I think we're going to get a tank matchup switch for both teams as we're going to head over to Happy Pride Month, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in the LGBTQIA plus community. I think I've got all the initials there.
You think?
Midtown, the Pride map.
Yeah, we love it. We love
New York's great right now. Like, the rest of America's burning, but the New York subplot is amazing. Nick's first championship in 50 years, Mamdani president, billionaires are getting taxed on properties they don't live in for 50% of the year.
President, bit of an inaccuracy, but mayor.
Oh, mayor, sorry.
Yeah.
Mayor. He might as well be a president. He's
Might as well be, yeah.
done more for the people.
I've seen that clip of where he meets Steed. It's more like he's meeting Speed rather than Speed's meeting him.
He's in the World Cup.
Yeah.
No idea.
It is crazy. But anyway, back to Overwatch. Yes, we're on the New York map, and this is a very flexible map again, right?
Mamdani's New York.
Mamdani's New York. It's not one where you can specifically play just poke or just dive or just brawl. King's Row, very famously a brawl map, for example. And you have a lot more flexibility on Midtown. You've got a lot more angles to take. It's I think, a genuinely better, well-designed map than King's Row is.
Midtown.
Yes, I think King's Row is very
It's
old
very linear.
Overwatch.
It's very linear, isn't it?
Very old Overwatch.
That's
yes.
fair. I do think that Midtown second point high ground, though, particularly for like the lower sort of levels of play, is just demonic. You just sit on it and poke. But luckily, with the pushing the cart, I never mind a map that you have a massive high ground. Like second point high ground for defenders on Midtown is disgusting, right? But when you're able to push under it, I think that creates a nice little counterplay. Because when you drop under it, that's when you lose your advantage of the high ground. When that card is under King Midtown second, can't really do anything. And as we said, yeah, we do have the swap from both teams. Jinx is in, Oh No is in, Davion is in, Yellow West is in. Both DPS lines staying the same. So Freefall, Triggered and Sonic Run It continue to be the win condition. And the last time I played against Oh No was in SPCS on Chaos Theory. I played against them, and I think they did pretty good. I would say a little bit over-aggressive, but definitely still getting to grips with the game at a team level. I think since watching them in kickoff and scrims, a lot better, a lot more stable since then. And even so, even if like the improvement has absolutely come in from seeing them in SPCS there, sometimes it's just a team situation. They can let you down and not necessarily improve, just back to playing normal Overwatch in a different environment. Having two DPS that play Mei and Tracer and then hit stands as aggressive as Triggered does, just makes your job as a tank easier. You're not having to be Mr. Space Maker, Mr. Damage Dealer, Mr. Cleanup, Mr. Cooldown Forcer, Mr. Everything. You are holding space for your DPS. And sometimes Ramatra in lower elo struggle with holding block. Alarm bells ringing, pointing, arrows flashing at me. I am Mr. Don't hold block on Ramatra. But if you can hold block on Ramatra and just hold space for your team, very, very good. Very easy.
Very hard to
very
displace.
effective. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And I think in this specific matchup, the Domina versus the Ramatra as well, you're going to be absorbing a lot of that damage. The Domina does a lot of long-range damage.
A lot of poke.
Yeah, a lot of poke. And fortunately for Oh No, I mean, if they can hold back a little bit, maybe be less aggressive, like you've just said, we could see a good matchup here. It depends though. Already Davion taking quite a bit of space and just being given it up in this choke. Normally you'd hold a bit more pressure going forward there. But Oh No tries to regain a little bit of that space. Damage on the left side there onto Triggered. And that's kind of your go signal. Well, should be for Eternal X, but they're still playing it super slow. This Domina just wants to poke, prod, force out cooldowns. There's a Suzu gone. That could be, again, another trigger to go here, but they're being missed by Eternal X. A lot of pressure onto Davion there. And again, it's just poking, prodding. No one really knows when to go.
Yeah, Davion playing really well. It's just impossible to get walled when you're playing around this pillar, so that should be the go button. Interesting spot with the shield. I think they could have walked up more and tried to take this sort of staircase high ground away, moved forward. I love that they're playing around this back pillar though. I'm going to take that as a sort of little spot going forward. It's impossible to get Mei walled on. But I think at some point, Freefall need to try and contest this W push. And Davion is slowly inch space on this map. It took probably more cooldowns than he would have liked. But they found themselves into a point now then though, we're in a tighter choke point. Can we help our anchor onto point, which is going to be Davion?
Very nice kill there from Triggered, actually. He's just going to walk onto the back line. You're free to do it, yeah, literally. There's nothing stopping you because your Domina's so far away from your back line there.
Yeah, so the issue here is that Eternal X actually managed to get the rotation onto Freefall. Like, they break it. If Davion can walk there, that means the rest of his team can walk. Maybe needed to pop a shield in the rotation. Obviously, no Lucio to speed through, but the Kiriko can TP through. There should not have been a situation where Wu Yang and... I think it was Ant, Wu Yang and Ant there were just that far staggered behind the pack that Triggered could walk around and put 2 bullets from the Peacekeeper into their skulls, and Triggered been out the game for a while, but those mechanics still very, very shitey.
Oh, look at this pressure, though. I mean, it's a complete rotation around from Freefall here to catch Eternal X off guard. Now cooldowns being wasted in this tight corridor. Look at that damage onto Oh No. As a High Noon is popped from Trigger, just trying to force everyone back. And that is exactly what you love to see. A huge rotation to catch Eternal off guard.
Yeah, so this shows the almost the mistake from Eternal X to ban Lucio here, and the power of Freefall's DPS. They don't rotate quickly enough because there's no Lucio. Triggered and Sonic get just enough space. They funnel into a tight room against the Cass in the May. Some have called it knee howdy. Some have been cancelled for that saying, so we're not going to go any further with that. But Laura right now, it's not even that the Destiny Trigger is hard up. Just can't.
The Blizzard onto the rotation, and again, no one from Eternal X is there, which could be a good thing in this situation, right? Only Davion goes down, but you're still forced all the way back to your spawn room, and even more, right? Some of them are going to die. Yeah, Laura Yellowist picked off final moments there. Freefall are doing a very good job of engaging when they need to.
Eternal right now just can't get anything going. They can't get out of first gear. The Zen can't even be allowed to poke.
Yeah.
Remember that Discord orb has to come in just one way of trying to displace any members of Freefall, and they've only got two ultimates to go with. This fights have been so quick that we're not able to build up the support ultimates. Seeding Rush was committed last fight. Simply not good enough, and backline ultimates from Freefall here are just so potent.
Well, there's the Blizzard. Again, it tries to catch something out, but all of Freefall rotate out the way. Kitsune Rush very good defensively there, as a Kekai Sanctuary comes through just a little bit too late to save Oh No. It Davion down. Yeah, look at that. It takes down the Dominant ult, and I've never seen that before, to be honest with you, but it's a bit up in the air. I think it should be a Freefall win there. Yes, it will.
Well, yeah.
And Eternal X are scrambling to get back. Laura onto the Xion just to get back the touch with the Transcendence. But Freefall are down players here. They're down men, and to be honest, Oh No could get caught out, but the Nemesis Swarm popped at just the right time. There's the Annihilation to force so much space away from Eternal X. Davion sacrifices their life in the backline valiantly to try and make a hero play, unable to get it through. A kill onto Jinx will be all for naught here.
I think Eternal just didn't have the answers. I would have said sim composition, full swap to a sim comp after attempt 2 on this. I think if you can't have the Lucio to break the choke, I think sim is so good because you have multiple TP targets. You can even bait the TP and just walk right. Now, they played the first half of the fight correctly, I think. Davion was admittedly, I would say, a little bit too patient, but I'd rather someone be a bit too patient at this level, particularly with the poke damage that Freefall can get. The rotation did come in. I think they maybe needed to try and path right side of the fire engine into them rather than wrap all the way around, because when they wrapped all the way around, they just did it too slowly. As I said, I think a sim comp would have gone absolutely bonkers there for Eternal. As we saw the amount of damage he mitigated. Important to note, very niche interaction. Kekai Sanctuary is a defense matrix. If you throw an ultimate into it, it's going to get it into him.
I've never seen that before.
I'll show you after. I might even be able to show you now. There's a clip of Luau throwing May Blizzard into Kekai Sanctuary.
Okay. Well, typical Luau moment.
It's so funny. Absolutely typical Luau moment. Does blood even read?
Probably not, no. But either way, enough about Luau, who is not in this game.
Freefall only need a tick.
Yes, this
to win this series. Wait. True.
Yes, this is going to be a very quick, potentially a very quick push. Eternal X have gone over to the Ramatra, and I think that's okay as long as you're not playing as patiently as perhaps they were on the Domina.
Freefall not deciding to go with the Mizuki here, and after I've seen now this was third map of Overwatch so far into our fourth for the night. Mizuki definitely powerful. And able to be effective in all levels of play. Freefall going to be going for more poke options here, so Davion's got to be very precise and very restrained with their cooldown usage here, because otherwise they're going to get poked out. Triggered and Jinx could be able to fight for this train car up here that Ant was looking to contest, and let's see how good the the wall is almost so good.
Good counter wall. I love that from Ant, actually. It gets them out of trouble. Very good May play there. Very creative May play. And I used to play a lot of May. It's all about the timing of that wall. Here we go, though. Davion walled off again. Saved once again by Ant. There's a Nemesis. There's a kill from Laura. That's exactly what you want to stabilize.
This is the perfect counter play, right? Like, they wall off your ram because they just want to take as much HP away from you as possible. And W key. So what's Laura going to do? Go on the small high ground that you get on defense. Just hop up. onto the fire truck and blow off that May's head. So often when you get a wall on May, you are kind of just like almost walking AFK in a straight line, like ChatGPT holding the W key, because you're just focused on the ram, right? Well, Sonic hits the headshot onto Yellow West. They win the Ego 1v1, and now No Zen makes it really hard for Eternal to hold it, because they're just going to be able to rotate them.
Oh no is going to feel so much less pressure as well. You're going to be able to go so aggressive if you want to here, and we see that immediately. Davion under pressure, the counter wall just to try and keep them alive, but it's not enough. Laura goes down and low on HP as well, taken down by a deft headshot by Triggered, and this will be it for Freefall. The one tick that they need, a lone Zen to contest it, ain't gonna happen. And that's the series right then and there. Freefall dominant throughout all of it.
Really dominant, particularly this map. Shut Eternal X out. They had no ideas that they did not have an answer for. And in the end, we saw how push and pull the first round was. Both of these teams, like Eternal X, were making progress in breaking this really hard choke that a lot of people struggle with, particularly in this elo bracket of Midtown. And then it's just like a random right click from Sonic Ronic. As I said, your GM DPS just finds the magic pick onto the Zenyatta, who over peaked for a bit too long. Might not have even just peaked at the wrong time, and Sonic is just firing icicles on a fixed point that they knew Sonic might peak from, and they just walk into a dink. Like,
it could just be unlucky.
Most of the time it is with May, particularly, because you're just jiggle peeking, spamming down a corner, and then it's, oh, I peek into it. Boom. It happens so often in any elo, but quite common in low elos. In the lower ranks of the game, like GL, like below GM, Masters Diamond, etc.
Yeah, I feel like learning how to play natural cover well is a good part of climbing.
It's peak timing too as well, like not peaking the same spot too many times at the same head angle. Because I guarantee, as I said, Sonic was just firing at a singular spot on the map, and that just happened to be where the Zenyatta of Eternal X Yellow put their head, and then you lose your Zen, and it's just go.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just go button.
Yeah, because the Zen would inherently, even though they're not really controlling the pace, the Zen would slow the enemy tank down with just a Discord orb alone. Yeah, exactly. So you can't walk if you're Ono in that situation, but getting rid of the Zen opens that straight up. We saw that in full force. They just went for it immediately. Davion pressured out. And like you said here on the attack for Eternal X, I think all you really wanted was just a swap up of comp. I think this was too slow, too passive, and they weren't able to establish any angles for Laura or Ant to play off of.
Yeah, and this is like they get the wall onto, if you call it, they got the wall onto Ono there, but like Yellow still died thanks to the right click from the May there. I'm going to say this now for any C League teams rewatching this VOD. When you struggle in choke like this, Midtown first, Midtown second, Eichenwald second, Numbani first, Symmetra is your answer. Twisted Minds and EU, we gave you the blueprint. I say we, Blood thinks he's on the team. But like, everything the Saudis, he spent a whole year in the cook pot. But Lucio doesn't have to be your answer. If you're trying a double flex support comp, get shifty with those Symmetra TPs.
Yeah, there's a reason these creative/niche heroes exist, right? You're playing a Symmetra to
Tim's one of the best choke breakers in the game, man. People don't realize it.
Well, you're combating map geometry itself, right? Symmetra just breaks through any of that. Who cares if you have a very difficult high ground to surmount if you can just teleport up there, right? And I would have loved to see that from them today, but learning experience, right? It's not exactly going to be top tier compositional decision making and awareness at all times.
100%. Like just to be very, very, very blunt and open and honest about it. Eternal are clearly getting their gears together. They're clearly finding out what they want to play and how they want to play. The pace thing, they're doing it slowly. Their comms definitely need a bit more like structure and solidarity. You can just tell from some of the ultimates and some of the target focus. And Freefall are just all mechanically very good. They know their win cons, they know their heroes, they know their rotations. They're coming out as a good team, very quick out the gates.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see if they keep it up, because often teams like this don't get better as the season goes on. It's just who can get past their level. Sometimes they can't. But it's important to note that particularly Sonic and Triggered's mechanics are just so good for this level of C League that we've got this season.
Yeah.
Toasty, who's the player of the game?
Player of the match. It's honestly a hard one because I feel like Freefall won just on macro and like
I think the
general gameplay.
It might have been on mechanics, to be honest.
Really?
I think it might have been on mechanics alone. Sonic's got so many like illegal picks just from spamming down chodes and going for aggressive duels. I would give it to Sonic.
I would give it to Sonic as well.
Yeah, we can
I
give it
believe.
to Sonic.
Yeah, it's probably the most mechanically gifted player that was playing in the lobby today, or at least from what we saw.
It's triggered, was in the lobby hitting like every headshot.
Yes, yeah, that too.
Such a good DPS line for them going forward.
Yeah.
They're going to be an issue.
Like I say, Sonic, I think as well, just being able to control the pace very well. Just by playing off angles.
We gave player of the game in both series to May players.
No. I used to be a May player. I can respect the hustle, you
I'm
know.
still a May player. Damn, sorry guys, we're definitely accidentally biased there. We gave it to two May players.
But May is one of those heroes that you need to be able to play so well to control the pace, right? And it's the walls, it's the timings on your off angles, it's when you're helping your tank with freezing the front line or whatever.
No, I agree.
Like,
I think she's way harder these days as well, because she's not just become I'm gonna just wall the bot, I'm gonna wall the tank off.
No, you need to be able to play
You may help your tank make space more than it helps deny the enemy space, and it helps continue your character in the neutral. Like, May just helps your team continue to play Overwatch, I think, and throw off those right clicks. We're gonna get a look at the schedule. I'm going in.
Yeah, so coming up next, of course, we have Whale Shark versus Siren Song. Was intended to be the second match today, but was pushed back 9 p.m. That's going to be covered, I believe, coming up next. And then Noble Steed, Phantom Verdict as well, bound to be a banger, Jace. Any thoughts on those?
Not too sure. I think there's a lot of fresh faces in BPL, and that's a good thing going forward.
Yes.
So let's see who can make a splash on the debut, because we're still week one, day one. It could be 2 Overwatch the rest of the day, but I think Noble Steed, Phantom Verdict should be close. But as we go back to Caster Cam, we got to get to bed. Toasty got to trek back to the Airbnb, and all my team probably like half a mile away.
Not that far.
No, it's not. It's not even that far. It's like a 3-minute walk at most. But I've been Jace. That's been Toasty. I'll throw it to my play-by-play caster to lead us out for the evening.
I mean,
it was fun.
It's been great, yeah. And fortunately for us, the police haven't turned up, and I haven't been kicked out of your house yet. So I think the BPL gods have blessed us on this day. But of course, thank you all for coming along and watching this half of the stream. Still plenty more action coming up with plenty more casters production bringing it to you. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll be seeing you around.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to BPL Season 8. I'm Newbeat, that's Shammy, and we're getting ready for some A-League action coming up between Whale Shark and Siren Song. Shammy, it's good to see you again. How you doing tonight?
All right, I'm doing great. Got off a long shift at work, and I'm ready for some Overwatch. I mean, the new season has just breathed so much life into the game for me personally. Xion has been an absolute blast to play and to see earlier on in the stream and how the players are adapting to it. Oh, it's a treat to behold, especially when you see her on her bike.
Yeah, it's good we finally got an Overwatch hero on their bike, and we've already had a pretty good night so far as we take a look at the schedule too. Couple matches already out of the way. We had one A-League match, one C-League match, but now we're heading back to the A-League. And hopefully we can get some 2-1 Overwatch instead of 2-0 Overwatch.
Yeah, it doesn't quite roll off the tongue as much, but I'm sure we can make it work. And if anyone's going to do it, I think that there's a good chance that Whale Shark and Siren Song give us some pretty strong competition. And we do also have our second schedule that is going to be our non-broadcasted matches. And we've got some pretty interesting developments here. Yatagarasu has claimed a 2-0 victory over Boundless Waltz. Meanwhile, if you have any friends flying with the Bugbears against Blue Rose, make sure to drop your support in the chat for them as well.
Yeah, got a couple games going on there, and those should be fun to watch as well. But right now we are focused on Whale Shark versus Siren Song, and these two teams are looking to get off to a strong start. Two pretty good rosters and two teams that are looking to do some damage here on week 1, day 1.
Yeah, we got Pepper, Choco Man Mafia, Comish, Squid Up, Zat, and Score Bunny representing the Whale Sharks. Pretty strong roster all around, but looking at it from the other end, we've also got the Siren Song who are, raring to get into the boxing ring this match.
Yeah, these two teams looking to go head-to-head. As I mentioned, these two teams looking to get off to a strong start and have actually seen each other once already. They did face off a little while ago, but we'll take a look at the Siren Song roster as well quickly. And you can see some familiar names as well for people that have been around BPL for a long time. King is one that stands out to me. They have a strong showing no matter what tank he's on.
Yeah, Didn't You See Me is also another pretty well recognized face here, especially zooming in this much on Onron. And then I also want to point out Toasty Toast. I feel like I've seen that name before, but I can't quite place my finger on it. Maybe it's just the handsome, towering Melga who's staring right back at me.
You never know. It could be a little bit of both. Toasty Toast has definitely been around for a while, been around the block a couple times. So, yeah, as you can see, definitely been here for quite a while. So these two teams, really excited to seeing them going head-to-head because I kind of touched on it. In the kickoff tourney, they actually faced off as well, and Siren Song not only beat them in round 2, as you can see it there, they actually went all the way and won that tournament.
Yeah, make it all the way. And another thing to note, though, is that was Whale Shark's very first match playing together. And you know what we say, right? Kickoff tournament, it's your time to figure out a lot of those teething pains. You gotta, really bring your team together and try and develop yourself before you hit the main stage, because now every game is recorded, every match counts towards your record, and you're trying to build yourself the best base that you can moving forward. And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a really strong showing, strong basics, and to build further beyond that for both of these teams.
For sure, they're building a little bit of familiarity now, and on top of that, we have had a patch as well. So we got Xion joining us in the hero roster, so that should shake things up a little bit as well. We have seen some play already with them tonight, so we are kind of hoping to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah, on top of that, there's some other notable changes, mainly Cat is finally nerfed, so you're going to be a little bit more of a sitting duck when you're up in the air. Some, select changes here to bring Hazard a little bit more in line with the rest of the cast, bring Bastion down a little bit as well. And I'm really hoping to see a lot more of the, divey characters really swing back in here, because we got a lot of Genji changes. We got On-Run getting boosted yet again. So it's only a matter of time before that character comes in, especially with the map pool like this. It looks like Oasis is the first one up on our, list of games today.
Yeah, Oasis, the control map will be up first. That's always a fun one to go to first, because there are 3 separate submaps that all can give you quite a different flavor depending on what you want to run. One thing we have seen a little bit of so far today, at least, is the Lucio Kyria. The Lucio Kyria is still very much alive and well.
Yeah, I don't really think that there's too much that you can do to dislodge them in the current meta. And just having the generic strength of a cleanse, and you combo that with, the rest of the utility the character brings, and then Lucio, who still has his auto amp on beats drop perk, you're just gonna continue to run people down, and that combination of healing plus speed boost plus all of that, you're gonna see that character a ton. And I mean, it's a good call, because it's really a one size fits all for most of your compositions, and there's not really too much you can do to directly say, I don't know, counter a cleanse.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to get your take as well on Xion quickly, just as they are the new hero. How do you think they'll be utilized? We've seen them so far kind of be set up as maybe an alternative to Tracer. Do you think that's something we might see continue?
Yeah, I'm not really sure where she's going to slot in, because she kind of fits in that middle ground between your hit scan DPS and your flex DPS, and a spot where she has more range than a Tracer, but she has less mobility than her. But she also has a ton of burst and a really good ultimate that you're able to get up pretty often, but you're going to struggle a little bit to have a lot of that consistent damage. So while we continue to work out a lot of those quirks, I'm sure that these teams are going to be able to slot her in different positions, and much like the Kyrie of old, whether you're playing like on her own or with another support, I have a very strong feeling here that Xion is going to be one of those characters who really depends on the pilots in what kind of a role they're going to slot themselves in.
Yeah, there's definitely still a feeling out period. We'll have to see where they want to go playing that hero. I mean, it's, obviously still very, very new. So we're just kind of hanging out, waiting for these bans to come through. Speaking of Lucio and Kiriko as well, I mean, we have seen those 2 heroes both banned already today. So, I mean, that, I guess you said, you're right. There's no way in game really to shake that up if people want to play that healer comp. But hey, you can just ban one of them.
Yeah, you get rid of it for that round, and it's a little bit of a band-aid solution when it comes to the map selection ahead of us when we're looking at, Oasis, King's Row, Renasapi, Servasa. I don't really have a very strong preference here as to when I want to ban Kiri, if I want to have, the ultimate tactical advantage for my team. There is, you can make a case for banning her out during push, because that is when your gates will have the most impact. But I do not blame these teams at all for, springing for it, trying to get out on the right foot, because this is a first of 2 series, folks. You're not going to get to that push map guaranteed.
Exactly. Your back can get up against the wall real quick. If something goes wrong on this first control map. So it's really a good idea to try and just go with what you feel comfortable with. Like, we saw, or we heard Jace and Toasty talk about it earlier. Just try and do something to put a team off balance, make them a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe if there's a hero they really want to run, just ban that straight out and just make them sweat a little bit.
Yeah, and when it comes to those target bans, we really often see that over in DPS land, right? Both of these teams having played together against each other before, maybe even together off stream in the scrims, they're going to know what each other like to play, and we could definitely see the potential here for an aggressive tactic, right? You could ban out somebody, say like the Tracer, say like the Genji, who, while they have other opportunities to replace them, you're going to be doing a really big blow to the enemy team. And speaking of big blows, we got D.Va taken off the board by the Whale Sharks.
Okay, so that's definitely coming out swinging by taking the D.Va off the map. So what do you think the alternative would be? Obviously, there's other quote-unquote off-tanks that could be played instead. I mean, obviously, that's not a term that's used as much anymore, but just a tank with such good mobility, such good usage with that defense matrix. Like, a lot of ways you can go with D.Va. So what do you think that they can do to kind of counteract that?
I think that's the key word here, is that, D.Va is sort of a universal presence, a universal answer to a lot of the things that Siren's Song can throw at your team, right? You can defense matrix, just completely remove projectiles from the game. You're going to any attempt to really replace D.Va is going to come back with certain trade-offs and negatives and benefits. But the important part is it's a really easy way to throw Siren Song off kilter. And then you already see, Siren Song trying to tilt things back in their favor by banning out that Lucio and really denying one of that strong 1-2 core that you brought up earlier, Newbie.
Yeah, there's a lot of mobility off the table now between these two bands, right? Both D.Va and Lucio can get around quickly. And obviously Lucio has the added bonus of helping the rest of their team get around quickly. So that is going to turn everything around. Like you said, these teams are a little bit familiar with each other, so there's the possibility that they saw something like this coming and might have something ready to counterpunch it.
Yeah, another one of those big things, right, is Lucio is a character who barely has any equals. Yeah, you can take a look at Mizuki, who offers a speed boost as his major perk, mind you, or you can take a look at Juno, who offers it on, the 10 to 12 second cooldown that it is. But that damage threat, that mobility that it constantly offers, and that constant value, it's very similar to D.Va in the way that it's just been denied entirely from this round. But here we are, right as we're about to zoom into Oasis. I'm excited for what these teams are cooking up.
Yeah, this is a really good spot to start, and these teams are really looking forward, like I said before, to get off on the right foot. Obviously, this being week one, day one, you really want to get that momentum going early and see if you can carry it through into subsequent weeks. So Oasis should be fun. We'll find out pretty shortly here which of the sub-maps we'll be getting into, and it looks like we will be going to the one with this boat, because I'm not sure what that is.
The name eludes me at this point, but it's the objective. It's guarded. Yeah, where you're sitting outside and you've got the elevated 2-stage points, and you've also got some significant choke points for yourself to play around. This is one of the ones where, previously you might want to play a little bit of dive on, but now with the bans coming into effect, we see both Whale Shark and Siren Song, whether they know it or not, are going to handshake into this brawl mirror, right? It's going to be a Ramacha running up against a Mauga, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think Mauga is going to eat him alive, especially given the presence of the Mizuki now, who's just an added amount of extra damage, extra threat onto your team. And didn't you see me roll it out on a brand new character?
And yeah, we see that Xi'an coming out here as well. I do like the hit scan matchup, this Cassidy going up against the Sojourn, and King's already able to get in, get to the backline and get 1 kill, now with 2. This is going to be Siren Song just pushing forward, surging into the back of Whale Shark, and taking this first fight with ease.
Yeah, and Whale Shark got off to a strong footing, right? You saw how they were able to position themselves, but King charging through the back line, getting that first pick, really tilted things in their favor. And now that they've set themselves up on this objective, they are going to be the ones who dictate the pace of this next fight. We see Whale Shark trying to look for an angle in. They're not going to fall victim to the, ambush waiting for them inside. But as I say that, we see Frost get taken down, and it's a trade kill back from Sky.
Frost, unlucky there, was able to find the opening pick on the Stoat, but it just wasn't enough. Siren Song able to collapse on other members of Whale Shark, and get the kills. But Kronos into the backline now with Sir Technical showing up onto the point. This fight isn't over. Sir Technical with 2 on the Curie, and that will in the end be a flip after a very scrappy fight.
Yeah, it was a strong play there, able to get in hard and fast and remove one of the members of Siren Song. It's an exact reversal of what Whale Shark brought to us in the first time. Now we do have ultimates starting to come online for Siren Song first. They've got the High Noon, but most importantly here, they've got the Mizuki ult as well as the Kitsune Rush coming up right around the corner. Will Frost be able to shut them down?
A nice headshot coming in from Chief is able to get rid of that, and now with Squid going belly up, that's 2 to the good for Siren Song. And even though Krona is able to pull one back, I don't think Whale Shark's going to be able to clutch it out this time around. Not even at the blade yet, so that Genji is going to dash on out, and that's a nice little flip there for Siren Song.
Ultimately neutral trades for both of these teams, getting ourselves up to about halfway capture progress. Now Siren Song is looking to continue to close things out as they are the ones who are able to move first. You see the hinder, you see the Kitsune Rush get dropped through and a kidnap.
That's a massive Kitsune Rush that comes out, but it's not enough. Siren Song once again able to disengage just for a moment and then come back in. And with the picks coming through, they're at 67% and counting. And this is going to be getting harder and harder for Whale Shark to come back in. They do have that blade online, and they will have a cage of their own pretty quickly.
Yeah, but a cage is going to be Xion's domain, having the ability to do those massive spins as well. Going to be a hinder, though, as a cage gets dropped down in the back line. King melting through their opponents. Didn't you see me? He's comboing it with them. And even though the counter cage came out, it was too little, too late. Siren Song claim point 1.
Yeah, unfortunately for Squid, that cage was built up just a little bit too late. And Whale Shark was already down 3 members when that cage was popped. So even though you got the Mog ult in the end, it was just really completely ineffectual with the numbers disadvantage that Whale Shark had.
Yeah, and I got to point out, right, I think this is one of the shortest Malgamir matchups that I've seen. You know, I didn't really end up devolving into both of the tanks shooting each other. Each of them knew exactly what their purpose was. I'm going to go in Maga, I'm going to overrun onto the backline, and I'm going to light them ablaze, and I'm going to take them out. But one of the consequences of that is the fights were over so fast, and I think that was ultimately what ended up being Whale Shark's downfall, is they weren't able to farm enough damage, enough healing, and they weren't able to get their ults in time to have an impactful fight. Now that we're rolling our way out onto the university, we see that both of these teams are actually, it's just going to be Whale Shark here is opting into the Sigma, hoping to maybe neutralize some of that pressure that King has been laying out on the Malga.
Yeah, trying to go with a little bit more poke, trying to elongate these fights, because so far King's been so good at getting into the backline and getting these kills. Coming in with the charge once again in the back is met with a rock to the face coming out from Squid, and this is going to be Orange Peel trading one back, but Squid already looking a lot better on the Sigma, able to get in the back, get another kill with the melee, and now at the point unlocking, this is Whale Shark in the pole position.
Very decisive fight when they're able to really lay the pressure back onto Siren Song in the reversal, and now you see the swaps. You see the M-Ray swap come out. You're going to see the King TF already onto the Sigma to match, and what did look a little bit dicey there for the Xion means that the Frost actually falls instead.
That's rough for Frost, and with some members gone, Whale Shark is going to back up once again. Squid doing yeoman's work on this Sigma, able to get up and get another elimination as they secure a kill and get back in on the point. The flip did come through for Siren Song, so they are queuing the percentage now as Corona getting into the backline throws down a reflect and is able to take out Sky. That gets traded back almost instantly. Didn't you see me is going to show up on the Xion, and this fight going back and forth. King now on that Sigma as well is going to go down. The grasp isn't going to protect you from that Genji, and this is just back and forth, one for the other. These teams just not giving this point up.
Now, you see how Siren Song, they're chomping at the bit here. They're trying to get their way back into this point. And Whale Shark are doing their best to give them that space. You see the Kitsune Rush now cutting in, and it's going to be a kite backwards from Siren Song. They don't need to get into the point just yet. And going to render that rush pretty useless.
Yeah, Siren Song wanted to make sure that rush runs out, but now the Flux is going to come in and it's going to claim the life of King. And this is a small advantage now for Whale Shark, and can they turn it into a larger one? It looks like they just might. Zat's able to get rid of Sky, winning the Mizuki fight, and this is going to be Whale Shark holding onto the point here and is starting to look a little bit steadfast. They do have 3 ultimates online.
Yeah, they've been able to really make do with the ultimates that they have available to them. You know, the Tsune Rush was a little bit off, but they still have the Sanctuary to protect them, especially this Dragon Blade that's going out on the offensive, if anything, to bait out those cooldowns.
Oh man, King was eating a lot of cooldowns there, but able to stay on their feet, or at least floating just off the ground. Split Up is going to get Didn't You See Me, so Siren Song is going to have to push in Hero 4. They go in with the Sanctuary, and now the Flux. King has thrown down the ultimate. The Gauntlet is onto the point. Starting to come close in onto overtime now. A nice hinder coming out. Frost isn't able to get away immediately, but they're able to slink around the corner before they get taken down. And now with Chief getting in onto the point with the M-Rail, there is no kills being found just yet. Putting in a lot of damage, but not able to secure any kind of elimination. Didn't You See Me? He's able to get one on the Joyride. Runs into Frost and now finds 2 as they polish off Squid Up as well. Now seeing the value of the Xion coming in, getting in onto the point, gets another kill, and that's the first Xion play we've seen with this hero.
Yep, good play overall from the neutral position, really. Like, the ultimate came and went, and it didn't really have too much of a big impact. But now as we set ourselves up, right, Siren Song, they need to continue to work extremely hard to dig themselves out of this hole they find themselves in. And this is the first step as Turn Technical launches that Kitsune Rush to the team.
Didn't You See Me? He's able to find an opening pick once again. The rush has come out here from Sir Technical, leading in onto the point, but Whale Shark isn't able to get too many members onto that. Now Squid Up has to back up, get some healing, stay healthy for this next fight, as we are getting closer and closer to final fight territory now, pushing back in. Squid Up does have that Gravitic Flux in online, and they are going to pop it, and they're going to catch a couple. A nice Flux coming out, and they are going to be able to claim Sky and then get in onto the point. Now King getting low, has to use her grass to stay in onto the point, get some of that overhealth. Now finally backing up, but Siren Song is going to have to re-engage, and now here they come, but Frost is able to find one with the rail shot, and that could be devastating. King is going to throw down the signals of their own, and Siren Song might just turn this around. Krona falls to the floor, and with the Sanctuary coming in onto the point, this is Siren Song sitting in onto the point and getting very close to a win.
In this minutes-long brawl, we see both of these teams throwing everything at the wall, trying to see what sticks. Squid Up is going to be the one to roll into this point as Ball to keep it alive. The overclock from Frost is looking for their targets, not able to find anybody. In fact, it's found themselves by Chief on the flank. Now we see the Xion looking for a pick, is able to shut down Krona, finds the Mizuki lurking in the undergrowth, and all is done. Whale Shark had an attempt. They almost pulled it back against their oppressors, but the Siren Song is too sweet, and it claims map number 1.
Yeah, that was a very good turnaround for Siren Song, because it was looking dicey for them for a minute there in the middle.
Yep.
A little bit touch and go, but Didn't You See Me really did show up on this, the new hero we got here. Like, it's honestly been crazy with a Xion just getting into the back line, getting some of these kills. I feel like not the greatest, like, sustained DPS, but they can really burst heroes down quickly if they're vulnerable.
Yeah, and just I think another really big aspect of that is just the amount of AoE that she gets as part of her kit. I mean, having the ability to use the bike to finish people off around corners if they try to escape from you, or the execute on her right click when she's holding down and paints that X pattern. She has just a lot of damage that she's able to deploy against you. Like, at most stages of the game, it's really rare that you're going to find a Xion without her cooldowns. And I think one big thing that I wanted to emphasize here is kind of how the state of the game really started to devolve as we went around that second map once we were inside the university. I feel like the first map was really Siren Song really baking us a cake, really putting a lot of efforts, layering their abilities well, and controlling the map. But when you come and see what happened on the second one, it's like Whale Shark were like, okay, we see all of this, we're mixing in the batter, but then we're just going to keep on mixing it. We're not going to layer it. We're just going to try to continue to use this chaos against you. and it almost worked in their favor, but I think Siren's Song really finding their footing, they're able to really rely on their DPS to put in a lot of that front work. I think that was really what made the difference there in the very, very end.
I gotta say, cooking up a baking metaphor like that is a pretty tasty treat for us, but that is going to be a win now for Siren Song, and now they're on match point. You know, these first twos can go by quickly. And so far, Whale Shark hasn't really been able to, you know, crack the nut that is Siren Song. And coming into our next map here, they're gonna have to figure out what they want to do. And you can see here, this was near the end. Didn't you see me really doing a lot of heavy lifting in this background?
Yeah, that's where you excel, right? You're in those close range engagements, and you find yourself not full HP. This character, Xion, is going to be able to burst you down. But now as we move our way on to the next map, and as we're preparing ourselves for King's Row, I mean, there are a ton of questions flagging in my mind. Are Siren Song going to be able to do it again? Will Whale Shark come back and really give us a better demonstration of, you know, what it is that makes them so successful, right? We got another round of bans, which means that Diva and Lucio are now, you know, not going to, are going to re-enter the pool. This leaves us wide open here to see, you know, who can be taken out next.
Well, I mean, the answer to that, at least at the beginning here, is going to be Cassidy coming out first, which is a good pick here. I think Cassidy can be strong on King's Row. I mean, Cassidy's been pretty decent for a while now on a lot of different maps if they're in the right hands, so that makes sense as a ban. And coming into this map, I mean, depending on how you want to play, you can really just go all in on the rush, maybe get a little more divey, you got poke. I mean, this is King's Row. This is the classic Overwatch map. There's a lot of different ways you could go.
Sigma ban from Siren Song. That is indicating to me, newbie, that means that we're probably gonna see more Malga. Like, I don't want to, you know, try and jinx it, but Sigma was Whale Shark's really big answer there when they rolled out on it, when they had you know, Squid Up at his most comfortable. But now that you're coming back and you're removing that layer, yes, you have other opportunities, you have other options that you're able to bring to the table, but that is one of the, you know, proven factors in this matchup gone, which really opens up King TF to continue to overrun you down as he was in that first map.
And as we head into King's Row here, we do have a substitution as well. Toasty Toast is now into the lobby. They are coming in for Sky, so that is going to be the switch that we are going to see as well. And I'm not a betting man, but I bet you money that's not going to stay with the Lifeweaver. I mean, I can't see it happening.
I mean, it's one of those classics, right? You got your attack. Well, we're just going to Lifeweaver Widow. The Widow's going to like throw herself out there with the damage boost, and we'll see if we get something and like reel her back in towards the end. But when I'm looking at these team comps, right, what's really interesting to me is Whale Shark have already solidified them because they have to walk their way to the objective. We've got Krona here on the Reaper, recently nerfed, but still plenty viable. And Squid Up now on the Ramatra. Hopefully now that it's not facing off against that Malga, is going to have a little bit more room to breathe. And Sir Technical really showing off their Alari. You've got to click heads and you've got to do a lot of damage to show your impact compared to that, you know, tried and true Lucio Kiri combo.
And yeah, speaking of recently nerfed heroes, Yari is definitely in that pile as well, as they lost some of their projectile size recently. And now we got Siren Song just coming forward here, seeing if they can get a pick early on, but Squid Up's able to get the first here. Toasty Toast into the lobby and back into spawn.
You know, gonna shut him down quickly, and you know, gonna follow that up with a kill from Squid Up onto Didn't You See Me. That's gonna be a little bit more impactful because the Xion has to make her way all the way back from the spawn room. We already see the attacking team setting themselves up strong on this high ground, proving to be a little bit of an issue, especially with King at full charge.
Yeah, you gotta keep that Zarya at arm's length once they get to 100%, and that's exactly why King's able to melt down 3 on the Zarya just going absolutely nuts with the high-powered laser, and that is going to be the first point. And a good job here, Siren Song trying to get forward a little bit, maybe seeing if they can take a little bit of extra space as well.
Yeah, especially with the Graviton Surge available for the Zarya, you have to respect her. You have to give her the amount of space that she desires. Unless this is going to happen, you get 4-man grabbed into a double kill.
That is absolutely gross coming out from King. Just throwing down the grab, because that was by far the first ultimate that was earned in the lobby. And King, knowing that they had it available to them quicker than anything else, was able to pop it and really get full value from the Graviton Surge. And now this payload is moving, and King and the rest of Siren Songs can just back up and see if they can hold this corner as both rushes come out.
I'm seeing red and blue here as KTF is a little bit lost in the difference. We see the Annihilation get popped by Squid Up as he's trying to run people down, which is the kiting game for Siren Song is a little bit too good. See both of these teams now biding their time. You see the Vendetta looking for an angle in on this fight. It's going to be Death Blossom in the middle. It's going to take her down, but it is going to be traded back immediately.
4v4 Overwatch now, and that is tough for Chief as they were getting close to the Sundering Blade on that Vendetta. King already at 73% to another ultimate now. Bubbles in the Xion as they try and get a kill early on. Throws the execution up, isn't able to claim the Kuriko, but King's able to find two before the Reign of Terror finally ends to a disruptor shot from Frost, but that's all that Whale Shark is going to get. This payload starting to round this last corner.
They're making plenty of good progress. 3.5 minutes left on the board. Siren Song looking pretty. And you can also start to see exactly why Lucio was banned out on this first map. Toasty Toast is a menace on it. Now we do see Whale Shark here with the Mei swap, looking to buy as much time as possible, especially with the Sanctuary right around the corner.
And a combination as old as time, King's Row and that Mei as the trades come through, and Whale Shark with a bit of advantage as they're able to take out the tank onto the other side, and that is going to allow Squid Up to square up to the rest of Siren Song and get rid of Chief, who is unfortunately after going to go take that weight back and spawn as Orange Peel and Didn't See Me also fall. So a good fight there from Whale Shark to finally stabilize and start burning some time off this clock.
Yeah, another thing I want to point out there is how crucial Krona's main wall there was to keeping the team alive. The Vendetta ult combination with the grab was completely shut down. And talk about shut down, Sheaf teleported a little bit too close for comfort. Got taken off the board by Frost. Now you see another nice catch as a result of that Mei wall, paying very, very heavy dividends here, as now Whale Shark are sitting pretty with their Dragon Horde of ultimates. They've got 4 on the board, while Siren Song gonna have to play a little bit economically.
And Krona with another great Mei wall there, like you mentioned, and it really just brings up a question that I've been asking for years, which is why is this street exactly one Mei wall wide? As we have now the overclock coming in from Frost, is able to find one. Toasty Toast goes down, showing some chops on this Sojourn now. Frost getting forward, getting another, and this will be a continued hold now for Whale Shark. A nice fight there, and pretty cheap too, just the rush and the overclock.
And now if you're looking at this from Whale Shark's perspective, you're looking pretty happy. You've brought the time bank down to just 1.5 minutes, and you've bought your team enough space to go all the way back up to that bridge choke point, which, as you very diligently mentioned, is exactly one Mei wall wide. Now we do see Siren Song are looking for this flank angle. They're creeping their way up these stairs, are instead of making their way around, they're going to drop down ahead of them, and they're making the decision, we want to fight Whale Shark right now on flat ground.
They've already thrown down a couple of abilities. Now the ultimates are being spent. We got the Spree and the beat coming out from the Lucio as well. Toast pops that. Frost is able to find the first kill with another nice rail shot. Frost really heating up now on that Sojourn, as Squid Up is able to get into the back line. They have the Annihilation online, but they might not even need it. They're going to pop it just to make sure they secure some of these kills, get the finish onto Orange Peel, and now this is another fight win for Whale Shark, and there's only 30 seconds left.
Now call it a reversal of fortune, because now Siren Song are mirroring what Whale Shark are bringing to the table, and even with the Annihilation pop, they're trying to save this fight. it wasn't going to be enough to keep the red team in this. Now, Siren Song have one last opportunity. It's 15 seconds left, and the payload is extremely far away. This Lucio will be able to touch no matter what, so there is going to be an overtime tip. But what comes after? You've got a Death Blossom on this team, sure, but is he going to be able to land it?
That's a beautiful Mei wall coming out. So both these teams finally learning the value of this Mei, just trapping off Squid Up and getting them down. So there might be another fight. We'll see if Whale Shark's able to regress and get back in onto the point. And this is going to be neck and neck so far. Whale Shark not able to get the members up to get back in onto this point, but a little bit of ways for this payload to go.
Yep, no speed boost means you're going to be extremely slow around this corner, and Squid Up is not able to make it to this touch. He's trying to run around this corner here, but the Kitsune Rush gets cut short by the Mei wall. That's an interaction, 0.01 meters, and the Blizzard gets dropped on top of this point. Krona able to take one off of Siren Song's numbers, but it is equalized rather quickly. And you see this rush as well as the Blizzard gets dropped down for Siren Song. Orange Peel able to claim one from Squid Up. Make it 2, make it 3. 4 for the Mei. Beautiful play to keep Siren Song in this attack.
I mean, that got to be considered a bit of a whiff from Zat there with the... Well, maybe not a whiff, because it was a nice Mei wall that came out from Didn't You See Me, but it's rough to lose that Curiel just a regular wall.
Yeah, it was a more known interaction, but you know, as time has gone by, as Mei's fallen out of the meta, you don't really see it as often in the wall rule especially, but we do see on the side angle here, it's just 2 Meis boxing each other in, trying to go for a one-on-one engagement, but then a Sanctuary gets dropped right on top of their heads, and Annihilation for King TF as he's looking to buy the team more space, gets walled off by their own Mei, meaning that you're going to really hamper your own attack.
Yeah, these Meis just tossing down these walls as soon as they can. Frost is able to find another, and now Corona and Squid Up are able to get forward. So this is Whale Shark once again trying to batten down the hatches and stay alive. They only have 20 seconds left. Siren Song was able to clutch it the first time and get that second point. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it again.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult attempt here to get this push, especially with Whale Shark are hiding very, very sneaky around this corner, but it's going to be a Kitsune Rush that actually betrays their original positioning. As Siren Song are taking the long way around, trying to go for it. A Hinder comes out onto this. Lucio is able to deter him from touching the point. And overtime is not your destiny, as Whale Shark are able to shut down Siren Song's triumphant attack right after that second point.
Frost really did start looking good on that Sojourn, but I think the real big play there was switch to that Mei. It feels like Corona going over that Mei was really a turning point in that first round, and you got to think with how that went, both these teams will be running the Mei again.
Oh, most definitely. I think that we're going to see the Mei again. The tank is a little bit up for question. I'm not too sure if we're going to be running the Ramatra mirror back-to-back, especially considering, you know, Whale Shark being on the attacking side. They do have a little bit more liberty to experiment, to try and roll something else out of those gates. What is going to be run back, though, immediately is going to be that, you know, Lucio Curie, right? We're going to see the Sojourn Mei from Siren Song King back on that Ramatra. Yeah, I understand if you're the defending team, you want to play a little bit more safe and you want to try and roll out on something that had worked for, you know, the majority of this round.
Yeah, and I really think that it's important to note that Siren Song, with that pretty decent defense, honestly, they set themselves up with a pretty clear win condition here to get themselves to a map 3.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. And now to accomplish it, they've got a teleport right out of the spawn, or actually they're going to be walking out a little bit further with it. Krona, you know, going to be on the Symmetra for unknown amounts of time as they teleport themselves up onto that high ground, potentially looking to remake what Siren Song did in that first half, but just without a Fed Zarya, as there is a lot of damage coming out, and it's just like Whale Shark are right back on that defense, right at home.
Yeah, really trying to use that high ground to their advantage right now. Giving themselves any advantage they can with that verticality as the disruptor shot goes in from Siren Song up top here to see if they can just hold on to this. And you can see they're really forcing Whale Shark to make them drop down to the point. So far, It's just been King that's able to get down there, and now other members following them to get in there onto the point as they start brawling this out on the objective. Corona drop, seeing if they can beam down that tank. Not able to do so far. Just trying to stay a safe state in onto this point. Trying to use this teleport to get back in onto the high ground. Didn't you see him? He's able to find the first pick here. Able to get rid of Sir Technical. And this is starting to look a little bit rough for Whale Shark. Just trying to get in onto the point. Frost was able to get one. Now Chief is showing up with that Sojourn. The pick potential from these Sojourns is crazy.
Yeah, especially when it's, you know, a bubbling cauldron, you're waiting for something to happen. You see the air bubbles come up to the surface, but it's not quite ready to pop. That is the exact moment that Sojourn is picked for, because she is going to be able to clip somebody's head with a railgun, and just like what you saw in that previous fight, really open things up for the team that is on the giving side. Now it is going to be a Blizzard getting dropped down here, but Frost is able to take Chief's head clean off, and King finds a trade kill.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely the bigger value, getting rid of that tank into this fight. Now King is able to just run roughshod onto the back line, stagger Frost out of this fight, and this is going to be more time just bleeding off this clock. Only a tick so far for Whale Shark, and this is starting to look a little bit dire. They still have time. They still have a bunch of ultimates online, but they got to do something to break through this defense.
At least economy-wise, we see Siren Song setting themselves up in a really strong position, especially more so that you've taken the Sojourn off the board, really removing a lot of your ranged pressure. But as things continue to play slow, both of these teams are going to be up at 5 ultimates soon, and it's really up to the players. It's up to your individual plays, because this is the moment at 1:20 left. You have 2 or 3 more fights left in you. You've got to make your dent now if you want to make an attack happen.
And this one might be it for Siren Song as well. They might be able to hold on to this defense. Sanctuary comes out from Sir Technical, seeing if they can turn this fight around. They are able to get one as they vacate Orange Peel from the objective, and now the Sim Wall comes out as well from Krona. This is the fight that Whale Shark has to win. They're spending all their ultimates, and they better have a return on their investment, and it looks like they will. Frost is able to get 2, popping the OC on that side angle, and they have unlocked the payload and kept themselves alive.
All right, Whale Shark have given themselves the privilege of being able to progress this point further. And they only have 3 minutes to do so. We saw just how much these time-wasting antics are able to affect you and able to remove a lot of yourself from play. Now that late kill onto Orange Peel is going to buy Whale Shark a lot more space, a lot more real estate, and really deprive Siren Song from most of those time waster fights. You want to fight them under the bridge. You want to fight them around the library, the bookstore, sorry. And then you want to fight them again around this next corner here that the teams are fighting over now, but you've already missed 2 or 3 clean hold points, and Siren Song have very little to show for it other than the ults that they have in that back pocket still.
And now with that Kitsune Rush coming online from Zat, that is going to be met by a Blizzard and the Annihilation. King's going to pop that remote turtle and try and get forward, but they might get punched for getting oh so very low. Squid is going to finish him up, and that is going to be the go button here for Whale Shark to try and get up and take advantage of this fight. And with Krona getting toasty toast, this has to be a disengage or a die on point for anyone left for Siren Song, as this should be the second point here for Whale Shark.
Yeah, losing so many members, I really doubt Siren Song's ability to come and contest this point further, especially given that they're no longer on the Lucio. We see Toasty Toast there on the Mizuki, and the second point capture here for Whale Shark. You know, making a way around this next corner, things are very scary, because as we enter one fight territory, Whale Shark are coming up on a lot more cooldowns, and this overclock, this Blizzard, is going to buy you a lot more space and really bring things right down to that wire.
Frost getting more than decent value on some of these off angles. Didn't you see me? It gets throws an icicle to the dome of Krona, and look at this disengage. Whale Shark knowing without that May that they don't want to fight this. They're just backing up and waiting to come back in here when they feel a little bit more comfortable. And now Squid just trying to get around this corner, but it's going to be tough now with the May back. They're going to give it another shot here.
continuing to dance around, continue to buy yourself more time, and that's exactly what Siren Song have done. They've gotten their overclock online, they've gotten their own rush. They're going to have a lot of abilities here to counter their opponent, and as the overclock gets popped in the Sanctuary to counter it, it's an all-out rush for who gets control of the payload.
This is everybody in Cures. Many people had it available to them. Particle effects everywhere. Orange Peel is able to get squid up, and that is an absolutely gargantuan pick. Technical is going to fall over the side, and this is going to be a reset. So what looked like 3 minutes and a lot of time for Whale Shark is starting to dwindle down as they're down to 1:40.
And one of the big things, though, is Siren Song, they had no more fallback. They had to invest all of their ultimates to counter it, and now Whale Shark are coming back in with a rush and annihilation of their own.
That's absolutely massive. To get rid of that Sojourn while the rush is active, and this is going to be absolute mop-up duty coming up for Siren Song. They're going to win this fight as well, and they are still holding at that line in the sand. They still got 1:15 to go, but this is starting to look better and better for them. And these early picks for Siren Songs are just invaluable.
Yep, continuing to pull the rabbit out of the hat time and time again. And now we see King, potentially overextending themselves around this corner, getting hindered, but then the annihilation is popped, and I have this Mei who's isolated on the wrong side of an ice wall. It ends up being King, actually, who is removed first, and without a tank to absorb so much of this pressure, Whale Shark might have finally found the one pick that they needed to get this point.
This could be rough. King straight too far for the warm embrace of the rest of their team. Orange Peel with a clutch kill on the Frost. Can they turn it into more? Squid Up throwing down that Nemesis form is able to punish that Kariko, and now the huge blizzard comes out from Didn't You See Me, and Chef is going to throw the overclock down as well. That is going to fall. 20 seconds remain, and the picks are coming through. This is going to be a scuffed last fight here for Whale Shark as they gotta wait for these respawners, and this is looking so very dicey.
The cake was a lie, newbie. The cake was a lie. It's all batter in here as we're getting mixed left, right, and center. See this mad dash to try and contest. We see Krona able to touch on the Tracer. Now Sir Technical rolling on that Lucio for the first time this series, almost able to get a boop off of the map, but as the overtime candle burns, Whale Shark continue throwing their lives to keep it burning, but it's not enough.
That's going to be it right here. What a hold coming up from Siren Song. They were just on the back foot, it seemed like, for a lot of that defense here in King's Row. But then they said, no more. We're keeping it right here. And they did. And King was honestly instrumental in that. They're getting play of the game. And they should be getting a lot of flowers as well, especially on their attack. That Zarya was looking strong. And also eating so much damage, so many cooldowns with our mantra.
Yeah, it was cinema to watch through and through. And hey, we did ask for 2-1 Overwatch versus 2 Overwatch, and I feel like that series felt like a 2-1 Overwatch. Like, we saw how, yes, Siren Song was pretty strong, but seeing the Whales, right, seeing them come back, they were very, very good, and they really earned their place up here in the A-League, right up against their opponents.
Yeah, and that one, especially that last map on Kings Row, definitely started to make Siren Song sweat there a little bit. There was, that was, by the skin of their teeth. Siren Song was able to make that through, so you tip your hat to Whale Shark for well. They definitely put up a fight on that second map. But you can see, like, Siren Song went through, they won the A-League bracket in the preseason, and now getting off to a strong start here in the regular season. And this is a bit of an early prediction, but I feel like this is a team that might be reckoned with all year.
You know what? I think that I'm going to make an even bolder prediction. I think both of these teams will, because what we saw here was, some of the makings of greatness, right? You saw the pop-off moments from the DPS, how high they were able to peak, especially, in those neutral fights. And when you throw ultimates back onto the mix, when you throw the adaptability, when it comes to, switching so many characters, I think very clearly you could feel the impact from all of these players. You saw them, all performing, I think, as highly as you could expect them to, and it's only going to get better as we continue to progress in this league.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of ways that can go. I mean, a lot of strong showings there in that first map. Like, obviously, we saw that play of the game, and a lot of highlights from King. Didn't You See Me, I think, was really, really important on that May as well, especially on King's Row. Able to just hold it down and get so much value from those May walls. You can see why May is just like the ultimate funny DPS, just holding that space, doing such a good job. It was honestly, it was pretty cool to see. You hate playing against those Mays, but they're pretty fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely also the point of like that adaptability, you know, coming out on the new character, coming out on May, coming out on, we did see some other variety there. It's slipping my mind, but there was so much. But I really do have to give it. I think I got to give the MVP to King, because just the way that the game was shaped around this tank player, whether it was the Zarya, whether it was the Ramatra, whether it was the Mauga on that first map, and how you were forcing your enemies to constantly respond to you, I think that it has all the makings of what a tank needs to be.
Yeah, like we were talking about how Whale Shark really showed up on King's Row and made it close. We have to think back to Oasis, that first map, and King was a big reason why that map wasn't as close. Like, there was a bit of more of a gap between the teams, and I think that King had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, and, you know, whether it is, you know, your fringe pick Malga, or you're, you know, sweating it out on the Ramatra mirror, right? You bring a lot to that table. And, you know, that really does make me think about, you know, where are we going to be in a few weeks' time once this meta has time to solidify? You know, is this an omen to the future? Or, you know, was this just, you know, launch date weekend? Come on.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot. Like, obviously, this is a brand new shiny patch as well. Like
Yeah.
that patch still has the new car smell on it. So there's definitely going to be some things that'll shake out here in the next little while. But as you can see, we saw both Black Crown earlier today, and now Siren Song. Those two teams both look like they're going to be just world beaters. And I think they could both really go neck and neck for the rest of the year. Now, I will say that's way too early. There's been 2 matches played. So I'm fully aware that that's like a pretty insane thing to say, but if you know, we talk in a couple months, and if I'm right, I'll look pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, early schedule things, and talking about the schedule, we've got Noble Steed versus Phantom Verdict coming right up next. I like those names. I'm a big fan of hammers myself, so I think that's probably who I'm going to root for in the next one. Knowing nothing else about the teams, of course. This is just, you know, shallow analysis, if you'd call it that.
Yeah, I think that would be a pretty decent name for it, if I'm being quite honest. But yeah, another some more A-League action here, which is going to be fun to see. I'm really seeing what similarities we can see between all these A-League games as we see more and more of them.
Yep. So, you know, as we prepare ourselves for this next series, we are going to send you over to a break. But stay tuned, because we got some exciting Overwatch for you next, and potentially another peek at some of those offline schedules.
Hello, everyone. Hello. My name is Biscuit. It's been a while since I've been casting, but next to me is Newbie, my partner for today's cast. And welcome once again to BPL. This is gonna be our last game of the day. There's been a couple already, a lot of action going on in the league, but I'm very excited to see this match. What's up, Newbie?
Oh, not much. There's a bunch of good A-League games so far today. We've also seen one C-League game. That was Freefall versus Eternal X, but Black Crown winning and Siren Song winning, those are both 2-0s. Those are both A-League games. So maybe this one will be 2-1, but so far there's been a bit of a trend as far as scores go.
Yeah, no, 2-0s I think are very common at the beginning of the season. Probably, if I have to say anything, is I think players definitely are starting to get back into the rhythm of things. A lot of them sometimes might not have been playing Overwatch that much, and then it's getting back into the rhythm of things. New character, a couple of big patches into the game. The game has been changing a lot, and with it, players have to adapt as well. And also, it's a format that is very unforgiving, if I have to say. Best of 3 definitely doesn't give you as much time to adapt and maybe exploit some weaknesses in the enemy team as it is in a BL5. However, hopefully going in, we can see some good old action. Hopefully it's a 2-1 to give us some changes. Now, going into our rosters, Newbie, I definitely think there are some highlights here. In particular, I really like what I'm seeing from Noble Steed. Wi-Fi, walkability, and PJ, I think going alongside Austin, there's some players that I know, not only personally, but as people that have been putting up results the entire time. So in my opinion, the favorite going in could be Noble Steed, but Phantom Verdict is not left behind, Newbie.
Yeah, they're both good teams, and I really do like the Noble Steed has walkability and Wi-Fi on that support line together. I think if those two players play at the same time, obviously 2 support heroes that know what each other can do, what each other want to play, can really help you out in the long run. But yeah, like you kind of touched on as well, Phantom Verdict does have some really strong heroes as well, Atrax, Damien Dab, obviously Jen in the support line as well. We should have a pretty good match here.
Yeah, no, Genesect definitely I think is the highlight on Phantom Verdict for me, at the very least. I think I've seen them in multiple leagues, definitely putting up some numbers. And I like that there's a matchup of old teammates with Wi-Fi, Walkability, and Genesect having belonged to the same team. And if I've noticed anything, is that there's a couple of events that have been happening. But in this one, I think there's a lot of new players and people that hopefully can give us a surprise. Now, moving on into our kickoff bracket. As we know, today is the first day of regular season, but that doesn't mean that BPL didn't start already. Going into this kickoff bracket, Noble Steed had a little bit of a bad loss against Phantom Verdict, who made it all the way to semifinals. However, Siren Song seemed to take it all in the finals of the tournament. Noble Steed, though, hopefully they can come back from that loss. You got a little bit of info during that first match, and maybe we can make it up today.
Yeah, exactly. You're opening up your Noble Steed that you maybe learned a couple things. You can tweak a couple things because it's been about a week since that game was played. So you can hope that you've really maybe learned a couple strats. And then obviously with that extra week, teams have started to play together more, started to breed more comfort with each other. So maybe that will help them out as well as we get into this match. I mean, it is rough for Noble Steed to come into your first week and play the team that knocked you out of the kickoff tournament. But maybe that's just more motivation for them to come back and do the same to Phantom Verdict.
No, absolutely. You know that there has to be some motivation, right? You have to make up for that one loss. And yes, in the tournament, it's one and it's done, right? That maybe there's not so much. And there is a little bit of a trend in BPL tournaments where kind of the people that lose and the kickoff tend to make it all the way to the end. But that is something that we'll find out probably towards the end of the month, next month actually. However, moving on into our actual match today and now, our first map is going to be Antarctic Peninsula. If I'm not mistaken, the map got reworked a long time ago, but we weren't playing BPL back then. And then moving on to our hero vans, we have Reaper gone from the side of Phantom Verdict, and the Sigma vent by Noble Steed. I am not particularly sure if people have been playing, if people tend to play Sigma on this map, but you can let me know more about that.
Sigma can be, obviously strong anywhere there's poke, so there's a couple of the sub-maps here that can really work for Sigma. I think that Sigma right now is one of the stronger tanks just in the meta in general, so I think that maybe banning that Sigma to start us off is something that they're just saying like, hey, that's a really strong hero that we might not want to play into. Whereas on the other side of things, Phantom Verdict banning Reaper, that one does feel maybe a little bit more targeted, like maybe they've seen somebody on Phantom Verdict, or sorry, somebody on Noble Seed play that Reaper before and they want to ban that out.
Yeah, and I mean, Sigma's probably never like a particularly bad ban. You know what I mean? I think it's just a strong character, a lot of damage, obviously better at the poke map, but whatever. Moving into this map, I don't think it's a bad choice at all. And Reaper, I hate the hero. I understand the need to ban him. However, today at the very least, we will have Antarctic Peninsula and Numbani up on the stream with some other two maps in case that we have to do the tiebreaker for Esperanza, and if it is required, maybe some Cosmic Ray. Both teams tie 100 to 100. There's some bug in the system. We can go to Atlas. And what can you tell me about like these comps? Obviously, I'm not expecting Mercy Misuki to be the comp from Noble Steed, but I think both teams are already kind of locking in Phantom Verdict with the Zarya comp. Obviously, both teams taking the TP to make it in.
Yeah, and you can see a couple similarities already between these two teams. Obviously, both teams are running that Kiri. The Suzu is just such a strong ability, can negate so many different things, and then as well as Sojourns. We've seen a lot of Sojourns today, a lot of good Sojourn play, and that's a really strong hero.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we see Sojourn so much, right? One railgun shot and you're already half HP. The team Phantom Verdict definitely backing up here. There's nothing you can do. Your tank dies first. The fight might as well just be over in that instant, maybe.
Yeah, it's honestly a good job once they lose their tank to actually just disengage and say, hey, you know what? That one's not going to work for us. We'll wait for that tank, but come back, try again here. But this is a really good shot. That's a really nice headshot.
Yeah, I know it will work. It will be that headshot with Skyser a little bit too in, though. It seems that Shogatsu is trying to trade backlines here, a little bit walking in on the team with FAMAS already taking their second kill, their third kill for this one. Shogatsu with that Vortex doing enough damage to finish off Wi-Fi, who will have nowhere to escape. Shogatsu giving Phantom Verdict a little bit, giving Noble Steed a little bit of a reminder of their last match, taking point, taking over, and it would seem that Phantom Verdict has strike back.
Yeah, and this is going to be the most obvious thing I could say about Overwatch, but you can see how strong that first pick is. Obviously, once you go up a character, the power spikes are just increased exponentially, and that was a really good fight. Once Phantom Verdict got that first kill, going in and just capitalizing on it.
Yeah, it's not the easiest fight to take there, but Phantom Verdict having two ults here, the overcharge, the Kitsune Rush, will the Sojourn ult here? I don't think so. Austin going down first, that's your support, that's your tank, that is Wi-Fi, that as well at the hands of FAMAS, and the fight is over before it even has time to start, Newbie. Phantom Verdict, the Sojourn pick, like you can definitely see why this hero has just been meta for years at this point.
Yeah, Sojourn just like keeps getting nerfed and it doesn't matter. But I mean, honestly, the craziest thing about that fight, Shogatsu got down to maybe 4 HP. Like, that health bar was empty, but they didn't fall. And what a good job by Phantom Verdict supports keeping up that tank.
Yeah, and a good job from the support on the side of Phantom Verdict, keeping up their tank. Cats getting turned onto Ugg, but Wi-Fi will be doing the same. Genesect Shogatsu getting 2 picks, and it will seem that is that. Skyser maybe getting Genesect on the way out, trying to get a couple of extra picks onto the Sojourn, onto Elusive, but it will not happen. A fight over tanks on the point, and Skyser going down here. A good fight from Phantom Verdict again. It's just they don't have enough time to set up and fight. They just die instantly.
Exactly. Phantom Verdict is doing really good with their aggression right now. Even if it's not an opening elimination, they're seeing openings, whether it's a used Suzu or some sort of cooldown, and they are just jumping on Noble Seed and winning these fights quick and clean.
Oh my god, and the Barrier coming out, dividing the battlefield over here with Phantom Verdict. They will be losing Shogatsu on the TP onto the backline. I love this aggression. Cats will be going down at the hands of Skyser. That's FAMAS as well. 3 people down, 5 people up from center. Rebel Steed, there was no way that you would win that. And that is exactly the kind of fight that you want. You want something unfair and completely unfair, just like this dive from Genesect, getting 2 on the way out, but also getting traded out. This is not a good look for Phantom Verdict.
No, because Jen has that revive as well, so Jen's right back into the fight, and the Wi-Fi is just coming on its spawn, so unless somebody goes back to taxi that Curie, it's going to take them to get it into a second to get it into teleport range as we go into overtime.
Doesn't look very good right here. Skyser trying to take the point with Famas, having a beautiful angle, trading out Skyser. I don't know if it's worth it though. That actually 3-year-old Damien, that PJ getting them down. Wi-Fi gone and UG as well. The entire team for Noble Steed wiped off the map. And I love what Famas was doing there. You see Shogatsu following Skyser into the point, putting the heat onto him, and then with that off angle, you know, leaving unattended that Sojourn, you have the overclock, you burn the tank to death. And honestly, in Overwatch, it kind of feels like if the tank dies first, that team loses.
Yeah, I mean, especially in 5v5 now, you lose that tank and you lose so much of an ability to hold space. With the tank in the fight, it's just so easy to crumple and kind of just die to the other team. And I mean, Phantom Verdict looked so crisp, so clean in that first map. Everyone say hello to the Penguin as we get ready to go into our second map here. And I don't know if Phantom Verdict has somewhere to be, but if they keep playing maps like that, this match is going to be over quick.
Yeah, no, we're all going to bed early when Phantom Verdict chooses to just win like that. The change of comp from Noble Steed is pretty interesting though. With the Mei, you have this wall that is just going to divide the backline and the front line from Phantom Verdict. If they don't walk in like at the same time, like coordinated, there goes the Vortex, a lot of damage from the Sojourn, but it would seem that the wall has been wasted here. Nothing gets caught, and Skyzer is a little bit to it, taking a lot of punches from Shogatsu. Shogatsu going back into this form, but they will lose it now. Once the barrier comes up, that will prevent a little bit of damage, but I don't know if it's gonna save them. 100 HP, 80 HP, and they are gone from the map. Genesec getting rid of Skyzer, PJ and Austin. There is nowhere to go but back into your spawn. This Onrun is not a good character from what I've been told, and Genesec is proving me wrong here.
So Onrun did get buffed recently, so maybe that has something to do with it. It wasn't like a massive buff, but it definitely got a little bit stronger, and this is one of the first times I've seen them played, so Jen really showing what this hero can do now. And Noble Steed already down one fight in this match, has to get in and finish off these fights quicker. As the longer these fights go, the better chance Phantom Verdict has winning them.
But I don't know if this will be the fight. Famas almost already has the overclock, and we see what happens when they use the Chunatsu. Overextending a little bit, the wall behind them is going to prevent all healing. The Tusu's wasted, though, on the side of Noble Steed, and it's just a massacre in here. So many punches. The Katsuna Rush will be coming out from Noble Steed, though, and it forces Phantom Verdict off of this little room, but they already got the pick. Does it even matter? Genesec using their immortality here. The Blister will be coming out. Shogatsu frozen. Wi-Fi gets rid of Genesec, but there's still more. Look at this. The annihilation is going to be popped onto the point. The Noble Steed surviving the fight, disengaging with Austin's speed, but I don't think it will be enough. Shogatsu gets rid of PJ. Famas, another beautiful shot. And even though the form is out, I don't think there's any chance for Noble Steed to come back here.
Shogatsu is just throwing hands left and right on this point. I think that might have been an ace. If not, it was definitely 4. And Shogatsu is just going crazy. And we're in final fight territory. Both teams spent really all their ultimates. Right now, UG might get that overclock online, and that's the only lifeline that Noble Steed has coming into this final fight.
Yeah, it kind of feels like UG really needs to do a lot. Oh my god, Skyfair walks in, has to pop form instantly because there's no other way that you will survive. Genesec looking for the pickup to illusion, but it will not happen. UG trading for Famas, but it seems like it's a wasted pick onto them. 4 people dead, UG 4v1, and there's no overclock that will keep you alive here. No one is even going down. Phantom Verdict really coming down and reminding them, you lost that first game for a reason, and they take Antarctic Peninsula.
Yo, I thought the first map was impressive by Phantom Verdict. That was even cleaner, that second one. They disengaged when they had to disengage. They had better ultimate usage. They were just doing everything just better, frankly, than Noble Steed in that first map. And this is already starting looking like a very steep hill for Noble Steed to climb.
No, absolutely, and you have to remember it's BO3. This is already you're already 1 game down, and if Phantom Verdict wins the next one, it's time to go to bed. Like, it's just gonna be the end of the match. And I love what they were doing, Newbie. if there's anything that I can say there is that it really felt like Noble Steed kind of is just reacting to whatever Phantom Verdict is putting up on the field, you know? It's like, hey, we're walking on you in this room, and then they react, hey, maybe I just do my Kitsune back. And even then, they keep being proactive, walking on them, forcing resources, getting out when they need to, but always putting on the pressure first.
100%. They basically were dictating the pace of play for that entire map. And it felt like once Noble Steed lost that first control point after about 31% on the first map, they just never got their feet underneath them again. They just couldn't find solid ground because Phantom Verdict was just pushing them back, forcing them into uncomfortable situations. And it was a very good example of how aggression can be so strong in this game.
Yeah, no, and if there's a thing that you really need to do, especially in these brawl matchups, is that you need to have the initiative, right? You need to use your resources just to kind of be able to get in and stick onto something. You need to get something out of it, and that's exactly what Cho'Gath does. The second that he is in Nemesis form, he's going in, forcing out one of the supports, killing someone, and then always getting out. Like, it's so exciting watching these matches where they are able to keep up the pressure, keep up playing fast, and that's exactly what Phantom Verdict has to do. It's like you said, they're playing like they have somewhere to be. Like, they really don't want to play the game anymore. It's far too late. We have to get it done with.
Absolutely. They're playing like they have a plane ticket and they know they have to be in security in like an hour. So, like, whatever the reason is, like, Phantom Verdict has got off to a great start. They've got to do it again here in Numbani. Worth noting that Numbani is a completely different map. Obviously, a ton more verticality. I don't know if that Ramattra that they were playing is going to work quite as well. So maybe that will force a little bit of a shakeup in this series. And another thing to keep in the back of the mind as well, 1st to 2, that means that Phantom Verdict is already on match point, and Noble Steed has to figure out something and figure it out quick.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, as you said, it's like a completely different pace. Of course, you're really good on the Brawl, you're really good on the Ram, we're all from NA. But when we go into Numbani, we're really testing out, hey, is this team able to not only play the Brawl, but be coordinated on their dives, make sure that their backline is surviving? If they're not surviving, can we at least trade them? I like these kinds of map pools because it really does test, like, the different ability for teams to play different compositions. It also tests your draft in a way, right? Like, you may have like a really good tank for, let's say, like this Antarctic Peninsula map, and then you have maybe like a Winston player, right? So it's definitely where your team has to like lock in and be like, hey, we can do both kinds of maps. We're not like a brawl one trick, we're not a dive one trick. We can do them both, and I'm excited to see what they can do here.
Yeah, it is worth noting with these two teams as well, they both only really have one tank to play. So that person is going to be staying in on the tank role unless there's a flex position I'm missing. But it looks like both these teams kind of just have the one tank. So you're right, it comes down to hero pools, right? If Ram's not the play here on Numbani, which if you're asking me, I would say probably not. Like, what are you going to play instead? And that's what makes this map so exciting, because it is so much different than Antarctic Peninsula.
And, you know, already, as you're saying hero pools, I really want to see what their dive is going to look like if they have dive. Like, you know, these community leagues and Overwatch in general is no stranger to, like, teams being very unflexible and being like, hey, I want to play Brawl, I'm going to play Sim and TP to high ground. So there's always a chance. The Mei ban is really strange to me. I don't quite get it. But again, you know, I maybe suck at the game. And the Noble Steed banning the Ana, definitely making some compositions a little bit harder to play. Nanoblade won't be a threat this game, or like a monkey nano in your backline. Interesting bans. I really don't see what the Mei is for. I don't know if any of these players like a one trick in particular. Not accusing anyone, by the way. Still going into Numbani.
I was going to say, Biscuit, maybe, you know, going to Numbani, it's a lot warmer than Antarctic Peninsula, so maybe they thought Mei and that coat was kind of going to get a little warm, so they decided to give her the map off.
No, it's true. And you know what? We really have to think about how comfortable the characters are, how comfortable my players are. Like, it's a matter of perspective. I think that is a good ban. Under those pretenses, that is a good ban, but still, I'm a little bit curious for what it's gonna be. Wi-Fi locking in the Ash. I do know them as someone that has been playing a little bit of hit scan here and there. Kiriko Brig. I've seen a lot of teams kind of just do Kiri Lucio because the same comp from the same 10 years that we've been playing this game, low key. But still, very interesting. Phantom Verdict, maybe walking out on Diva. I wonder what's gonna be. You can never know at the beginning.
Like Kiri Brig is interesting, right? Like Kiri Mizuki is something we've been seeing more and more of. Obviously, Kiri Lucio is kind of the gold standard right now for a lot of support comps. So it'll be interesting to see how Austin wants to work this Brig into the map, especially with that Brig not really being able to access some of these higher grounds. We're seeing a lot of really mobile heroes here, like the Diva, the Tracer, even a little bit of Sojourn. So it'll be interesting to see what this Brig wants to do. And as I say that, the Brig has gone down.
Yeah, the Brig going down to a shot from Sojourn, and I think we've all been there. Hey, the character, well designed, 200 years. Look at this, Minky engaging onto Famaz. This could be a trade right here, and if you are a Phantom Verdict, you really want to keep this momentum. A couple of good shots from Famaz, getting rid of Wi-Fi. You do not get to pick Sojourn like that. Skyser looking for a health pack, but I think this fight is already over. Even if you're alive, like you're still staggering yourself. You're giving Phantom Verdict a little bit more leeway and getting some beautiful picks right here. Not capturing the point instantly, but it's fine as long as you have the picks. And oh my god, Famaz, please stop, man.
That was an absolutely disgusting shot. Like Minky, I think Minky should have gone to point and just died because they were essentially just staggering themselves out longer. Because I don't think they were ever going to make it out of there. But still, what an absolutely gross shot coming out from Famas. And that is going to be this payload already unlocked. And I mean, they're making pretty good time so far.
Yeah, no, 5 minutes, and something you have to consider is just the mental damage that it must be going out to Sojourn like that. Like, the character is just so strong. Wi-Fi swapping onto the Kree, giving them a little bit more mobility, a little bit more HP when it comes to dealing with Genesect on the Echo, and Famas already has their ult in UV. This is just incredibly good performance from the Minky, but a good engagement onto Genesect, but Genesect will be able to get out. Phantom Verdict has the ult advantage. They will be halfway done to that point. The Kitsune on to engage from the side of the Kiri team, but it seems like Skyser just can't even live to this comp with the Diva, with the Rockets, everything coming onto their way, and they just have to give this ground. Famaz going on with the overcharge. That is one shot. Austin goes down. Skyser trying to leap out of the fight, but I don't think that will happen. They will chase you down wherever you go. Oh my god, walkability being the last two lights that are overclocking. They want to go to sleep already, man.
That was so... We're starting to run out of words. Like, Famas on that Sojourn just looking absolutely unhinged. And now Skyser has gone over to Mage here, trying to survive a little bit more of this poke. But hey, Famas, if you peek, Famas is going to kill you. It's just going to happen.
And Minky's the new victim here. Flashbang eats him by Shogatsu, but Shogatsu taking a lot of damage from the Maga. I like the pick, kind of, even if a lot of the bullets can be eaten by the Matrix. As soon as it's down, he's also down. Famaz going down for the first time in this game. The bomb is going to give them a little bit more time. Well, that's why I have time to run away. Yes, they do. Shogatsu going down. First 2 kills from Noble Steed. Finally stabilizing a little bit, but Phantom Verdict managing to get the rest of their players out. This is a tall hill to climb. Like, you have 4 minutes and 50 seconds to hold Phantom Verdict, and they have a lot of time to adapt to you.
This is, if my rank games are anything to go off of, this is kind of classic Nimani though. Roll the first 2 points as quickly as possible and then get stuck for a while on third. Because it can be tough to get through these chokes. You can see Genesix going over onto the side, seeing if they can catch somebody unawares. And now the drop into the back line and the finish from Wi-Fi. That's a really good play from Noble Steed.
Wait, who said that Marga's not a dive hero? Going in, stomping onto Genesect, looking down, trying to avoid a little bit of that damage. And I love the engagement. There's no other way to call that but creative. Like, it's just really interesting out there. Knowing your guys are playing onto this high ground Diva, engaging onto him, but there's no way that you can out-sustain this damage. Shogatsu maybe overextending a little bit. No more boosters, but no more cardiac overdrive from the side of Skyser. That's a lot of their sustain kind of gone here. And in a very awkward position, the Bisuki is able to maybe survive this, but look at that, having to pop the ult onto themselves. Hamas maybe a little bit overwhelmed here, choosing to back out, and I do not blame the Minky. Flashing onto the face, will they die here? Skyser putting on that cage fight on top top of the clone, but the clone is going to do so much damage. Look at the Maga putting them on fire. Famas getting out of the pick up the walkability. Big stomp on the Skyzer, and I think you will not live to tell the tale. Austin gets a good trade out to Shogatsu, but it does not matter. Triple kill from Famas, again, new beat.
And this could be it right here. The payload inching close to the end. This is going to be Skyzer trying to touch. We got Pinky at the backline here. Going to get a clutch kill with the Tracer. Nope.
Yeah, you may be able to touch. Wait. One pick on the Cats. That is not too bad. Cardiac Overdrive, keeping him alive for now. But can you even deal with the Sojourn? I don't think so. So much damage from the Echo, from the Diva, from the Soj. This Tracer has wasted the recall all over again. And that's not even Tracer. Wait, that's Shion. 3 minutes for Phantom Verdict and Yubi. I am not one to call it. Miracles will happen, but this is looking very rough.
I've seen crazier things, but they were all pretty crazy. So we'll see what Noble Steed cooks up here in the next round, but they're definitely behind the 8-ball right now. And this isn't to say like Noble Steed's necessarily playing that bad. And we know that they have a lot of good players, but Phantom Verdict is just on one right now. Particularly Famous, 20-1 on the Sojourn, 8,000 damage. That's leading the lobby by thousands of points of damage. I mean, that Sojourn, like, if you can have that Sojourn free firing in the back and they're landing rail shots like this, it's basically a lobby in it.
You know, I think, like, didn't Noble Steed have the first ban? Like, I feel like at some point you kind of just have to take it and just ban the Sojourn. Like, even if you don't think it's like that much of like like it's not a dive hero, you know, maybe it won't hit me here. I still think you need to kind of just eat it, you know, like just eat the ban, get some time to restabilize, you know what I mean?
Yeah. If I could play devil's advocate, at least for today, the way Famous is playing, if you ban Sojourn, they'll probably just headshot you with a different hero.
Hey, the hits and characters are all very fun to play into. I will say that from us. Looking for a little bit of a cheeky shot here, getting a little bit of ult charge, but that disruptor charge will not be doing anything. Minky on the Shion. I haven't seen much from this hero personally. A couple of clips. They seem to be pretty strong, but I don't think it's happening. Today we're back on the good old Tracer, and seems like Noble Steed is rotating onto this high ground, heading and not going face to face just yet.
Yeah, Shion right now really good at assassinating, you know, lone hero if they're off by themselves, but not great working their way into these backlines. But that's an breaching from Skyzer.
No.
Look at this, Noble Steed walking forward.
I love what Wi-Fi is doing here. Definitely playing a little bit aggressive, trying to show that, you know, Hamas, they may be good on the Sojourn, but Wi-Fi can do the very same thing on Kree. I don't think you can contest this point, but maybe I will be proven wrong. No, it will not be happening. Shogatsu would have just died if they had gone in there. Do they die on the way out? I don't think so either. Genesis getting a little bit of damage onto the Sigma, but that Sigma will live forever. If there's something I know, it's that.
But Biscuit, you did mention the mental before during the last round. And that was a fight that Noble Steed needed. If just to give them some confidence and be like, hey, look, we can win fights. And now hopefully we can build off that, because this can be a tough corner to take. And that's a beautiful shot from Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, beautiful. I like what they're doing here. Genesec going down is going to take off a lot of pressure from their tank with that beam, with those same bombs. Look at that rock onto the Diva, getting chained as well. You will not be getting out. And this is exactly what you want if you're on Phantom Verdict, right? You just want to put a little bit of pressure, walk together, and not give those picks walkability. 2 picks onto themselves and Wi-Fi on a roll today.
Yeah, you called out, or you mentioned Wi-Fi earlier being a good hit scan player, and she definitely is starting to show it now with some nice eliminations in that fight. Now we're getting close to the second point, and as it stands, Noble Steed is doing this faster than Phantom Verdict did, and that's a nice deadeye. Able to finish off Shogatsu.
Yeah, nothing you can do there. Shogatsu maybe a little bit of a discommunication with their team, and if we have to notice anything, it's what you said, they're going even faster. Guys are rocking Damien Tab and getting them out of the map. Will they get this pick from Oz? Going down walkability, another one for themselves, putting themselves up on that board, and we're entering the last bit of the map, and it kind of feels like I'm watching an entirely different game. 4 ults for Noble Steed for this fight.
Yeah, this feels like the Noble Steed we were expecting to see at the outset, because like we said, they got some really strong players. Wi-Fi's looked really good in that cast, and Skyzer showing why maybe the Sigma was banned in the first map, really handling that Sigma well.
A very awesome post from Minky. I really like the shelter from the side of Austin, completely getting rid of the value from that Kitsune League. Will they be beamed? Those Kaiser doesn't even get time. Oh, they do get time to pop their ult, but that is the tank down from the side of Noble Steed. You do not have the frontline presence that Phantom Birdie has right now. And Shogatsu with 90 energy. You're just the protagonist of this fight. Finally, putting a stop to Noble Steed, and this is what you want if you're on Phantom Birdie. A little bit of time to breathe, a little bit of time to reorganize and talk about what is happening. Wi-Fi coming up with another Deadeye.
Yeah, it's going to be Deadeye versus Graviton Surge for this next fight, and I give maybe a bit of a advantage to the Zarya, and it's going to be tough for Noble Steed to walk into this ultimate.
Yeah, a little bit of an advantage might not be the word I would say. It's a massive advantage. It could be eaten by Skyser. I don't think it's happening though. Beautiful stick up to here. Does Wi-Fi go down? Good shield, good eat. So much healing, and only Wi-Fi goes down. That is probably the best scenario you could have gotten out of there, but you're still not out of the woods. Shogatsu walking up Cats, getting another pick onto Minky, and if you get these staggers, you can make the time lead a little bit less overwhelming. The TP out, but maybe... yeah, they're completely safe. Noble Steed taking a bad loss, but not completely for free for the side of Phantom Birdie, using their best ult, I would say.
Yeah, there was definitely some good plays on both sides. Like, Noble Steed got out with as many people as they could in that disengagement, and what a grab from Shogatsu, knowing that Skyser has that grasp online and just yeets it into the wall so they can't get eaten.
Yeah, I really like what they were doing right there. Just, you know, making sure that their ult is getting some value, but now that we're going back into this fight, Wi-Fi is going to have their Deadeye. That rock almost sending them to the grave, but Shogatsu lives. There we go. It's high, dude, but it seems that none of the team members are going to go down to it. Still giving a lot of space to the team. Skies are going down, and this is an overclock from Famas, and if we've seen it before, we know what they can do with it. That's going to be the Kiri getting out, but there will be no way to come back into this fight. 3 minutes and ticking. Phantom Birdie will for sure have the lead coming out of this match.
Like, we keep talking about the strong mechanic skill that Phantom Verdict is showing, obviously, with Samus and even Cats with the headshot and the Kiri. But that macro disengagement, they saw that Deadeye and they all just hit. And that's exactly what you need to do when that Cassidy ultimate comes out, and they did a really good job negating an ultimate just by position.
Yeah, and you know what I like here? I like the swap onto Reaper, putting a lot more pressure onto Shogatsu, making these engagements a lot riskier. Like right here, look at this. Taking up the space, you do infinite damage. There's no way you can walk up, and Skyser, not the best ult, only getting one. Look at this. The Misuke puts the grab. A little bit of an overcommitment, a very messy fight in these stairs, but it seems that Shogatsu is going to come out the victor. Does this get Kiriko live? They do. Genesect, Famas cleaning up. No more Reaper, no more Misuke and Wi-Fi. Trying to get a couple of shots on Shogatsu, but there's no way you can kill the 100 energy. Sorry, I know they're just walking all over you. Guys are trying to go out fighting, trying to get the pick, but there's nothing that you can do here. Look at the stagger as well. It's just cruel.
And it feels like Shogatsu has these grabs on like a 20-second cooldown because they're building them up so fast. But a lot of that has to do with Cats and Damien Dab on that support line, because they're keeping that Zarya alive. And that's the biggest thing you have to do with the Zarya, is keep that Zarya alive so they can keep that charge. And it's really been paying off for them. And now Mingy's seeing if they can go on a cheeky flank here to find a kill.
And that's exactly what you want. You just need a little bit of a random pick here. Guys are swapping on over to the Ram, giving them better brawl, and Minky opening up with the best pick that you could have gotten. No more Susu, no more TP, and then again, Wi-Fi giving us the space with the Deadeye. 3 seconds, and you have to hide, and that's not gonna be enough time for Genesect to get out. Beautiful pick. 2 people down for the set of Phantom Verdict. Can Noble Steed close it out with Damien Dab down? I think that's what will happen. Famas sliding out onto this fight. Wi-Fi a little bit low, but they managed to hide regen, and you still have time if you're a Noble Steed to come back and fight.
The first important checkpoint here is that Fenberg want to get this below a minute, and they are going to do that. And now if they can burn this final minute off the clock, the best, even if they cap, the best Noble Steed can do is a tie. So this is starting to look a little bit dire for Noble Steed.
Hopefully, though, with the Kitsune, you're able to re-engage and maybe look for a big walkability. Definitely needs to get a good value. Oh my god, the Ram crossing this corner with no healing, with no help from the support. I don't think this is a good idea. Skyser goes down. Skyser gonna go down. Famas with the triple, with the quadra kill right here, hopefully. And then, I don't think you can do anything. Newbie, I think this is it.
Biscuit, I don't think that when you said I don't think that's a good idea, I think that was a bit of an understatement. That was a very good way to describe that. Now with 15 seconds left, they're just going to solo grab that Mizuki, and this looks like it's all over.
Yeah, I don't want to call it, but 7 seconds and ticking. Shogatsu with nothing. I wouldn't call it massive in terms of people, but massive in terms of impact. Getting 2 kills. But Mas, just I don't want to put it all on one person. But if there has to be an MVP today in Newbie, I don't think there's any discussion. This Sojourner just absolutely demolishing the battlefield today.
Yeah, like, listen, I always like to try and shout out the supports, because like I was saying, the supports did a phenomenal job keeping Shogatsu alive, and Shogatsu themselves on that tank were super strong. But like, look at this play of the game. Like, what argument could you possibly make against Famus being being the MVP?
Yeah, no, it's what it is. Like, you gotta call it. This DPS absolutely just the second that someone's speaking, someone's dead. Right, putting up the pressure, and I really want to also give it to the rest of the team. Right, Cat's definitely doing a good job at keeping them alive, because in some of these fights, it's just like people going on top of your entire backline, and you're still living all these engagements. As well as Shogatsu on the Zarya, just looking massive, like just looking insanely strong. Every time they're in a fight, 90% energy, 100% energy. Or like you were saying, every minute they have a grab, you cannot win against that.
Yeah, that's the way you make a Zarya really strong, is you just keep them in 100 charge all the time by keeping them on their feet. And that was exactly what they did, both by the way the tank played and the supports behind them. But like, just looking at the stats here at the end of this round, Famus went 37-5 with 17k damage, which was the highest in the lobby by about 2,500. So yeah, you can see Famus, like the crazy thing was just the consistency of the shots. It's like I've had good games where you can hit shots, and I've watched many good games with many good DPS, but they were hitting shots almost every time, which is crazy to keep it up.
Yeah, no, every railgun and every overclock definitely just scary, right? Because going into fights, you would have, let's say they start at 0 charge. By the end of the fight, like by the end of like this 30-second engagement, like for example this one, you have Famas already at 90% ult, right? And then Wi-Fi, even though you have some really good shots right there, even though you're putting on some good impact, like just look at this. Like you have fights like these, then you couple that with Cats permanently keeping them up. You couple that with Shogatsu giving them so much space with all of that charge. It's just Phantom Verdict really showing why like they're a strong team to watch out for.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be a team to watch. That's going to be must-see TV for the rest of the season, watching to see if they can repeat that performance, because that looked clean. And like I said, it was really the consistency of just both the mechanical aim and the understanding of when they had to disengage, or maybe when they had to go forward and put more pressure on Noble Steed, and it just seems like they made the correct call 95% of the time.
Yeah, no, it was a bad idea definitely for us to even like think that Famas wouldn't be hitting some of these shots. Like definitely the MVP for this occasion. And hey, all I gotta say, if you're watching the stream and you're playing in A-League, you gotta watch out for this. You gotta watch out for this player right here. Ban the Soj, see what you can do. But I love what I saw today. A lot of aggression, and sadly, Newbie, one of the things that doesn't happen is that we won't get to see a score that isn't a 2-0 today. 2-0s all over the place, but a beautiful performance for our last game. And going into our schedule, these are your final scores of the day.
Hey, look, we had one of the 2s on the left side of the screen, so that's something, right? I don't know, that's about all I got.
I kind of wanted to see the, the symmetry, like 2-2-2, like right, left. I guess it won't happen today. But I really like what I'm seeing. Like, if we know anything about A-League, is that it's competitive. It's just like completely cutthroat. Everyone is here to win. And I'm happy that we got to see some of that today. Hopefully, though, Noble Steed can come back. And yes, even though you have a bad game, that happens. Like any of these teams, even if they may have lost today, they can always come back in the future. And it's the first game of the season. Just getting your rhythm, right? Getting to know your team, playing better together. And hopefully during these next couple of days, we see some more of that with Snowdrop Odin tomorrow, Archmother, Amatori, Echo Knight, Serial, Monetized, and Goblin Goobers tomorrow. So definitely don't miss those either.
Yeah, there are some good matchups tomorrow for sure. another 4 games on the schedule. And, like you kind of said, it's just the start of the BPL season, right? Today is week 1, day 1. So that means tomorrow, week 1, day 2. So we got a long road to go here on a BPL season 8. And it was a really good first day. Like, I know there were 2-0s. We don't love 2-0s. But there's still a lot of fun to Overwatch. Like, Overwatch 2 watch, like Biscuit, we've cast together before, and that was honestly one of the most fun times I've had watching a game with you.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you very much, Newbie. Thank you to production for putting up together, because even though we're the casters, even though our faces are right here at the very front, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to make everything happen, to run the tournaments, to the players for giving us something to watch, and I'm very happy that we get another one of these seasons. So if you like what you saw today, get excited, because there's only more of it in the future. But Newbie, thank you very much for today. Congratulations to Phantom Birthday. Good luck to Noble Steed going into the future. And definitely tune in tomorrow and the day after that for some more exciting Overwatch action. My name is Biscuit. Thank you, Newbie, for casting with me today. And we will see you all in the next one.